Oh my goodness, all my toggles are on. Let me toggle them off real quick. Okay, there. It's like, what's going on? Why are all my toggles on? Um, Fun fact of today. Where did my Spotify go? That's not very good. Okay, there we go. Fun fact of today. Because I am using my one HDMI to whatchamacallit. Also, this isn't what we're drawing today. This is a drawing I was working on earlier. Let me go to what we're going to be drawing today. But no, because I'm using my one HDMI cord to like plug in my iPad, because that's what we're watching right now on the screen, is actually my iPad. Um, I'm gonna put on music just in the background while we kind of get situated here before we put on the Let's Raid podcast. But I'm just gonna put on, I don't know what I'll put on. I just need like lo-fi music. Yeah, let's put on some lo-fi. Okay. So we just have lo-fi going right now. Just while I kind of get less situated. It's so quiet. No, I was going to say this. Let me finish what I was going to say. So, I am currently only using one desktop because the cord that I normally use to use my other desktop, I'm using on my iPad. So, we're having like a very condensed stream today. I apologize if my camera is a little off today or anything like that. It's a new setup I'm trying to stream with my iPad and stuff like that, so bear with me. I also decided that today I'm actually going to be a good streamer, and I have headphones on so that y'all shouldn't get echoes from the scary stories today, because normally you do. So I'm being a good streamer today, so we're not doing echoes. But I will say hello to everybody. Welcome to the stream, Serene. Welcome to the stream, Andre. Welcome, K-Dog, to the stream, and also welcome, Fail, to the stream. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me today for another art and scary stories. We don't have art going right now. We have fairy fountain lo-fi. So I'm trying to explain what we're doing. Let me see. I caught an Azoth in a Pokeball earlier. Just a regular Pokeball. How the frick are you doing? Serene, every time I stream, every time you're here, I get blown away. I feel like there's some other like crazy freaking thing that you're doing, whether it be shiny hunting or just catching an Azoth in a regular ass Pokeball. I don't know, man. That's hella impressive. I just created a new main channel known as Andre Blue Boy Remastered, where I will release all of my new content from now on. I'm excited to try and do some new games while continuing my old playthroughs. Hey, let's go. Andre, you want to drop that link in the chat? Give yourself a nice shout out. I don't have the link, so you gotta drop it in the chat. And then I'll go subscribe, and then everybody else should also go subscribe. I'm gonna give a nice shout out to Andre there and his new channel. I don't know, it's just the gaming chair. I'll get it, don't worry. Okay, awesome. Cool. Thank you. Also, if y'all haven't noticed, y'all can see this little asset here. I'm gonna make it big, and then I'm gonna struggle to make it smaller again, but we have a new tablet asset, which is my iPad, because I couldn't use my other tablet asset, because, you know, we iPad kids now, you know what I mean? So, there's that. Also, I'm debating if I want to... Why is this so loud? Hold on, I'm just gonna put the volume down slightly. It's probably not loud for you guys, but it's very loud in my ears. And I'm pretty sure I'm, like, screaming. My family definitely really enjoys that. No. I was going to say that, I don't know what size we're going to do this. So if you're unaware what we're working on today, we're working on a couple things. I am going to work on some emotes. Bacon is here. I might draw Oshawott as a sad clown as a warm-up sketch, which is a bit of a long story, but I might do that. But at the same time, we are mainly working on making some progress on a piece that I want to draw of Bowser and Mario in like a Mario 64 kind of style or something. I don't really know yet. But it's a piece that I'm going to get printed so that Charles Martinet can sign it at Fan Expo. So that's mainly what we're working on today. I don't know what size to do it. I'm thinking of doing it like a long way. So I might not, because I have a square here right now. So I might do it like a long way. So it's like 3,000 by 500 pixels. To have it like a long way, I think that's probably good. But yeah, that's mainly what we're doing today. Is working on a couple different things. Before, actually, oh my goodness, my gaming chair. So squeaky, first of all, but also I have it in a different area. So it's not like perfectly all set up at this kind of side desk that I have my stuff at right now. But we're going to start with a warm-up sketch. So I just remembered that, but at least we have that here. Oh no, it's all of my Procreate drawings. I've posted like most of these. I think I've posted every single one of these drawings that are in here, so it literally doesn't matter. We'll just do a square warm-up sketch of Oshawott as a sad clown. That's what we're doing as a warm-up sketch, everyone. I've missed so much chat. Andre, I think the link didn't actually come through. I think YouTube might have some thing where it like blocks out links in live chats, which is stupid. Let me see if I can find it. I can send it, because it might just... Is it attached to your current channel? So if it's attached to your current channel, I could probably just try to type it in. Let me see. I think I got it here. Yes, your Super Mario Galaxy videos. Okay, let me see if I can give you a shout out in the chat. Because I think it's really stupid sometimes it like doesn't do it. It like blocks it out. No, it blocked it for me. That's so stupid. Oh no, it didn't. There it is. There it is. There it is, though. I found it, so I sent it in the chat there. So there's go subscribe. Everyone go subscribe. Okay, let me see what else I have missed here. Arting as you do, yes. Also, I think I said hello to you already, Bacon, but hello, welcome to the stream. The freaking plum, I'm dying. Not a plum eggplant. Yeah, it's a lovely sticker. Currently just defeated World 2 in Super Mario Galaxy in 3D All-Stars as of the current 2 videos I have uploaded so far. Yes, okay, so I did see those, so that's how I confirmed it's your channel. It ain't that loud at the right volume, don't worry about it. It's loud in my headphones, but I don't think it's loud in the stream, so as long as it's good. I'll probably have to make it a bit louder when we get to the scary stories, but right now I think it's fine with the lo-fi. I'll probably catch Messprint in a Pokeball. I bet you could do it. I think I caught all of my Sinnoh Legendaries in Ultra Balls, but that's just because I suck. We already know my RNG is bad, so... okay. I think I caught up on chat. Alright, so we're gonna start off with a little bit of a... Almost dropped my pen. That would have been bad. We're gonna start off with a little bit of a warm-up sketch, okay, everybody? It's gonna be a good warm-up sketch. That's not my sketch pen. Also, I got these freaking pens, these manga inker set pens. I'm forgetting, this is so bad. I forget whose Gumroad that I got them from, and I feel really bad because they were like a content creator. But they're the best things ever. They are my all-time favorite Procreate pens. Like, they're so good. Okay. Let's stop listening to Brawl. Brawl menu music, lo-fi for a second. And let's go back to our lovely podcast. So I don't actually know which story I want to listen to today. I had one, so this is the one that I had, which is My Friend Went Insane in the Woods. um, it says that it's so this one has stories about the scariest places in the USA, vacation incidents, and the story of how my friend lost his mind in the woods. I don't know about that one. I can't remember which one we listened to last time. Oh, we listened to the catfish one last time. Don't go out after dark. Is this going to be paranormal? Because if it is, I will not be listening to it. Horrifying stories about sheriff, grandpa, strangers, and things that happen after dark. I don't know about that. Oh no, there's something outside of our cabin is what one of these is titled. That sounds really scary. Hiking, camping, and a truly terrifying individual. Terrifying summer camp experiences could actually be interesting because it's very summery. Summer camps, bad Tinder matches, and working gas station night shifts. I think this is the one we're going with. That actually sounds like it slaps. Okay. I'm gonna put the volume up for y'all.
Simply Fix It repairs all tablets, laptops, and gaming consoles. When you need your phone fixed fast,
this is an ad.
Simply Fix It. In Waterloo.
Growing up, I never went to summer camp, mainly because.
Okay. So we're gonna start it in a second. I'm just gonna catch up on chat real quick. I don't know what will happen once I get back into Pokemon Legends Arceus, but I will be stunned if I get a shiny alpha to appear in the game. But I doubt it, honestly. But there is a possibility. True. I hope, I don't even think I caught, a regular shiny in freaking Legends Arceus, okay? I really haven't. It's been, a hot freaking minute since I played Legends Arceus, but also caught anything in that game. So I'm wishing you the best of luck with that. I'm not saying 100%, but there can be a chance. Smash Bros. Brawl is quite the game. It's my favorite Smash Bros. Game. But honestly, I'm excited to see what sketches you'll show us. Yes, we're doing a warm-up sketch first. I figured you'd put up MatPat's Lorify thing. Maybe another time. I feel like the Lorify, I have to actually sit down and focus on that. I can't have it as background music or background podcast. I need to be 100% focused for that. So I can't be drawing and also trying to learn lore, you know what I mean? Also, I'm just going to move myself over a little bit. Wow, I used to stream on one screen, and I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I used to do this. I caught Azoth in the first Pokeball, too. Oh my god. That's insane. I used to play Brawl 2. Story cutscenes are greater than story gameplay. True. The story gameplay was kind of silly in a way. It was a lot of just go to this place, fight this enemy. Now you're having a cutscene. The cutscenes were cool, like you said, but that is pretty much it. Okay. We're going to start. I'm going to pull up a picture of Oshawott, actually, before I get too comfortable. Because I need it for a reference real quick. I have a picture of Bowser opened up in another tab as well. Okay, there's our boy Oshawott. So I'm going to start the scary story now. Or the scary stories, because there's a lot. And then, yeet. Oh, it starts off with some nice ambiance. Let me know, by the way, once the story starts, if it's too loud or too quiet as well.
Because my parents couldn't afford it.
I think it should be fine, but just tell me if it's too loud or too quiet.
But it got shut down quickly since my parents could barely make ends meet. However, I was able to attend sports camps in the summer. It was similar to your typical summer camps, except you mainly focused on a specific sport. In my case, it was basketball. It was just for 1 week out of the summer, and you would do drills, play games,
You
eat,
saw the
make friends,
short
and just
with
have a good
sad
time.
clown Oshawott. It's
After
so
graduating,
funny. My
my
mom is
life took a turn
hilarious.
in a direction I never expected. I started coaching basketball at the high school level and teaching the fundamentals of the game to grade school children. After a successful first year as a coach, I reached out to the community to see if a basketball summer camp would be something that they were interested in. I was overwhelmed by the support that I got. So, before the end of the school year, I found a gym to rent out, and I decided to host a basketball camp for kids from 4th grade through 10th grade. It would be first come, first serve, and when all the spots are filled, that would be the end. The camp would be Monday through Saturday, and it would be a sleepover camp as well. And to my absolute joy, every spot was filled within just a couple of days. I couldn't wait to get started in this venture of mine. When we were packing up our stuff on the last day of sign-ups, a very angry man entered the gym screaming, saying, "Hey, where do you think you're going?"
Sure, Serene.
I'm
Drop
summing
us
up
your
my boy right
2-sentence
now, so
horror
hold
story.
on.
Let's hear it.
I was immediately annoyed by this guy's tone, but I still calmly said to the guy, "Sorry, sir, every spot's been filled. I apologize. I wish I could take every kid." Well, this guy wasn't having it. He started making a scene, kicking over chairs. I tried to get him to calm down so I could explain to him why I could only take a certain number of kids, but he wouldn't stop his freak-out scene. I felt bad for the kid, honestly. Thankfully, the kid wasn't with him, so I didn't have to witness that, but I understand what it's like to want to give your kid something, and sometimes the world says no. He finally left after a few minutes, ranting about how I haven't seen the last of him, and I'll be sorry. Now, as a coach, I have been threatened by parents a million times, and I never take it seriously. Most of the time, parents just want what's best for their kids, and they'll say stupid stuff all the time, so I treated this incident no differently. And finally, camp time was here. I ran the camp a lot like basketball camps I went to when I was a kid. Drills, scrimmages, downtime, and even some fun games for character building and team camaraderie. My staff of coaches and I really worked the kids hard on the first day. That first night, almost every camper was asleep by 8 or 9 p.m., which was great for us since we didn't have to try to wrangle and calm dozens of teenagers down. This pattern of hard work and
This
early
looks so
nights
cute
continued
so
for a couple of
far.
days. By Wednesday, I only had one
Gotta
kid
give him that
wanted to go
clown
home,
nose,
and
though.
after a nice conversation, we convinced him to stick it out and stay. That night at around 11 p.m., I was making my rounds to make sure all the kids were asleep, or at least in bed and not being a distraction for everybody else. The location of the camp was in an old school that wasn't used for classes anymore, but was updated and really nice. To paint the picture a little better for you, the campers slept in various classrooms. Before you scratch your head and say, how? Before the camp started, we went in and converted the classrooms to some livable quarters. They were much like cabins you would see in an outdoor summer camp just inside of
What do you
the
guys
school.
think?
Now,
What do you
after
guys
my
think of this
walkthrough,
sketch?
I was able to confirm that most of the kids were
That's good.
asleep, or at the very least in their beds. On the other side of the sleeping quarters was the gym. To get to the gym, you would have to walk down a long hallway and then cut through the cafeteria, which also held the stage where students at one
Sketch
time
is already
performed
done.
plays and band shows. While I was
Good
walking
warm
through
up
the
here.
cafeteria, I could hear something coming from the stage. I shouted up to the stage asking whoever was up there to come down. I figured it was just one of the kids or a coach or something, but I couldn't figure out why they would be up there. I shouted again and got no response. There was clearly someone up there because the noise I heard was blatantly footsteps.
Thank you
That
for
was
the compliments.
In my stern coaching
Oh, I
voice, I
love it.
shouted, "All right, I gave you a chance. I'm coming up there." I jumped up on the stage and was shining my flashlight all around. I couldn't see anybody, and now I couldn't hear anything. And just as I was about to walk away, from behind one of the curtains, I hear a voice. It was angry and low, and he said, "I told you to be sorry." I shined the light in the dark pockets of the curtain, and from that sort of black void, I saw someone charge at me. Immediately I could tell it was the guy, the angry parent from the sign-ups. And before I
That's
could even
crazy
react, he
behavior.
tackled me on the stage and started throwing punches into me.
Oh, your
One of the other coaches
scary
heard
story
the
just
commotion
sent
going
now,
on,
Serene.
running in.
Hold on, let's read it. So when I went blind. I memorized everything, including the 14-step stairway. But then my heart sank when I started counting 15, 16, 17. Ooh, that is scary. I those like stories about paranormal
Hopefully get
stuff
the
or
guy
like
off of me.
stairways that just show up
This
out
guy
of
was going
nowhere.
crazy,
That stuff
flailing all
gets
over the
me.
stage.
And we don't listen to paranormal ones
I had no
here.
choice, but
They're too
once we subdued
scary.
him, I called the police. Thank God they came quick, and they escorted the man out of the building. But believe it or not, this is where the story actually gets crazy. The man's
Oh, there's
kid
more.
was already signed up in the camp. He was separated from the kid's mother and didn't have custody of him.
What?
Apparently, the man wasn't mentally well either, which is pretty obvious now. The mother told us and the police that she informed him several times that she signed up their son for camp, and I guess he was upset that he didn't get to sign up his son himself,
That's crazy,
claiming that it was a
bro.
father's job or some weird reason like that. It was a very messy situation, and I had to spend most of the next day contacting parents and letting them know what happened and that their children are safe. That was the only incident that ever occurred like that, and I'm thankful that it didn't ruin the camp. It was scary in the moment, and every year before camp I think about that guy. I have no idea how he got in since all the doors were locked and there weren't any windows for him to get in. The only thing I can think of was that he arrived the first day and was hiding in the school the entire time that we were there, which just the thought of gives me the chills. It just makes me think, even when you think you're safe, you just really never know who might be watching you.
That is unsettling, bro. I'm playing the Switch emulator of Superstar Saga right now. Do they have that in the Game Boy? Did I miss something? When did they get that in the Game Boy emulator? I must play it. That's gonna make me pay for their like deluxe membership or whatever the frick. Cause Superstar Saga.
I didn't realize how messed up
good
this story
shit.
was until just recently when I told my girlfriend.
But no
and
worries
all of
about
her
your
friends what
your
had
gaps
happened.
in the chat.
I guess I'm sort
We
of
vibe and we
oblivious to
chillin',
certain
I get
things,
it.
and I'm horrible at picking up signals. My girlfriend was
He is
flirting
looking
with me
so
for weeks,
cute
and I had
already.
no
I
idea,
love
so,
him.
Yeah, I'm
He
not the
looks
best
great.
at overthinking things. Now, years ago, when I was 15 or 16, I don't remember the exact age, I attended a Christian summer camp. It wasn't like
I didn't
in your
know that they
face
had
religion or
it
anything
in the
like that.
GBA
It
thing.
just
To be
plastered
fair, I
that
wasn't
Christian
really
name
paying
to get people to
attention
come to the camp.
to
In this part of the
that
country, you're either
when it was
Christian or
announced and
nothing.
stuff. Maybe I
Parents also
should
thought that
have.
it would be a good idea to
I
send me to
didn't
camp.
know.
They thought that it would help
Thank
me to
you for
socialize and
enlightening
meet
me
friends,
now.
since I am pretty awkward. Well, they were half right. I met Petey on the first day
Also,
of
Shireen,
camp,
if
and
you
he was
have
wearing a
another
Captain America
scary
shirt.
story, drop it in the
I
chat
was
for
wearing
sure.
a Captain America hat, and
That's
we
the
both
theme
laughed
of the
about it
night.
and instantly bonded. Petey was just like me, socially awkward, dry sense of humor, and gigantic comic book nerd. We'd spent literally hours talking about comics and what we would love to see in movies
The
someday.
best,
And this
the
was long
best
before
kinds
the
of
MCU was a
conversations,
thing.
in my
I
opinion.
believe Iron Man 1 had just come out before camp had started, and this love of comics was what ultimately separated Petey and me from the rest of the camp. Everyone would break off into huge groups and do all sorts of activities, and we'd stay back just to hang out. We both hated the water, so for any swimming activity, we just sat that out. One day, Petey brought me a
My
bunch
only
of notebook
experience
paper
in
and
summer
showed me
camp
his
was
skill at
like
drawing.
everyone bullied each
The guy
other.
was a freak when
That
it
was
came to
about
drawing. He
that's
told me
about
to
it.
write some of the ideas for my superhero stories, and he would illustrate them. Oh, I love this idea. It got to the point where I didn't even realize that I was at camp anymore. I was sort of blind to everything else in the world except for my new buddy, and it seemed like he felt the same. We would stay up in the early hours of the morning, writing and illustrating our own comics. And one night, one of the
That sounds like
counselors
fun.
decided to
I'm
do a
worried
night walk.
about how this is
We
going
saw
to
us
end.
awake with our flashlights, drawing and writing, and he didn't get too mad because we weren't doing anything bad, but he still made us put everything away and go to bed. We were annoyed, but neither of us were rule breakers, so we did what we were told. The next night, we stayed up and did our thing. We talked about making sure that we were a little bit more vigilant, and if we heard something, to make sure that we ducked down right away so we didn't get in trouble. During the night, at
This
some
is
point,
worrying
we
me.
heard someone
This is
outside,
worrying me,
though.
this story.
We put our flashlights out and jumped into our beds. We could hear the walking outside of our unit. The walk continued until it was in front of the building, and the walk was slow and it just didn't feel right. I thought maybe that he was trying to be sneaky, to catch someone breaking the rules, but it felt wrong for some reason. Petey and I slept on the far side of the room, so the door was probably 20 feet away if I had to guess. We could hear the doorknob beginning to shake, but for some reason, nobody was coming in. Petey and I both made eye contact, and he mouthed the words, "What is going on?" I just shook my head because I didn't know. Petey got up and started walking towards the door. He whispered, "Hey, who is it?" Nobody answered right away, and he looked back at me and shrugged, and then a whisper came from the other side of the door. "Hey, it's John. Open the door real quick." We were both confused. There was only one John that we knew at the camp, and he was sleeping in our unit. Petey whispered back and said,
That's
"Sorry,
not
who?
okay.
The only John we know is he's sleeping right here." The voice paused again and didn't answer, and then the doorknob started to shake again. Whoever this was, they were trying very hard to get into the unit. Finally, he'd said something again. "Just open the door, bud. I'm just trying to make sure everyone's okay." Petey made the wise decision and said, "Sorry, man. Counselors have a key. Go ask them." He started walking back to bed, and whoever this was started to try opening the door again. We both stared for a few seconds, and then we started to hear the loud thud of whoever was outside, and they were now throwing their body
Look at his
against
face.
the door. They only tried to do that about 2 or 3 times and then immediately stopped. We both got into our beds and just stayed quiet. We didn't have any clue what that was about. After several minutes, we heard the doorknob one last time, and then it stopped for the last time that night. We heard the footsteps creep
Oh
by
my goodness.
outside of the unit, and then they were gone. The next day, I saw a bunch of counselors talking, and they looked frightened about something. We didn't say anything because we figured that it was probably someone playing a prank or something, and we didn't want to get in trouble. The rest of the camp continued, and Petey and I noticed that the counselors were now monitoring all night long. It seemed like one was awake at all hours of the night. On the last day, we told them what had happened that night, and he turned white as a ghost.
Oh,
He
Jesus.
goes on to say, "Oh, it was probably just someone playing a joke. Nothing to worry about."
No,
He
that's
then went and immediately started talking
suspicious,
to another one
bro.
of the counselors.
Oh, sorry.
We went home,
Sorry,
and
Serene.
honestly,
I'm just seeing
didn't
your
know.
message now. Let me see the new scary story. The kidnapper of my child asked, "Guess where your daughter is?" Get her back. I got shocked and said the basement. I ran down, then I saw my daughter's severed head, and I realized every other room would have been correct. Oh my god. It took me a second to get that one, but that is scary. That's like straight out of a horror movie. Why does this keep happening? The lines are too thin. There's an entire Reddit dedicated to 2-sentence horror stories. Yes, these ones from Let's Read, I don't know if these ones in this exact podcast are Reddit ones, but he
Think about
does
that
do
incident
Reddit
too
ones a
much
lot
until
too.
The story came up organically recently when we were all
I have
hanging
seen
out.
that subreddit before though.
I'm still
It's
incredibly
very,
close with Petey, and
very
I
scary.
even called him the night that I told my girlfriend, and he corroborated the entire story.
I'm messing this up.
She thinks whoever
Still
this
trying to get
John
used to
was,
using this
he had
app.
bad intentions. And maybe he did. His attitude and everything about him just seemed off, and when I think about it, and I think about how everybody acted after that night, it makes sense that it could have been
Perfect. I
someone
love him.
with ill intentions. But what do you think? Did this guy have those bad intentions, or was it simply a camper doing a joke that might have gone too far?
Oh, whoops, I'm coloring on the wrong layer, everyone. Great. Great. Okay, what is happening now?
When I was younger,
There we go,
was
I figured
desperate
it
to
out,
fit
I
in,
fixed
and I
it.
would do anything to be considered one of the cool kids. Now, when I was 15, my parents sent me to summer camp. I was excited at the opportunity to make new friends and hopefully try to convince the other campers how cool I actually was, or maybe even convince myself. Now, when I showed up, I instantly gravitated towards the kids that I thought looked fun. There was a group of 4 guys standing by one of the cabins. They all had shaggy hair and looked like skaters of sorts, which at the time was what all the cool kids were doing, at least in my mind. Now, the ringleader of this group, which seems like an appropriate way to put it, was a boy named Russ. He was wearing a Dallas Cowboys hat backward and was entertaining the other boys with certain jokes. As I approached the group, I started to laugh at Russ's story, even though I didn't get his joke. My fake understanding of the story was enough to be accepted into this group. Now, a few days into camp,
I want
it was
like a
clear
texture
that
brush
I
to
did
do
choose
this
the cool
with.
group. All the younger campers thought that they were pretty cool, and all the campers our age always laughed at what we said.
I'll try this
And
one.
we quickly
What does this
became
one
the
look
funny
like?
guys, as we're getting in trouble almost daily for fooling
Maybe
around.
not.
This was right during the time of Johnny Knoxville on MTV and all that kind of stuff, so we thought we were cool doing dangerous tricks and stunts all around the camp. Russ even convinced one camper named Michael to jump off one of the roofs of one of the cabins onto a tree, claiming that
Oh
he'd
my
done it
god, I
many
didn't.
times.
I wasn't expecting
Well,
the tree part.
Michael
That
did this,
scared me.
And the tree branch snapped, causing Michael to fall, and I actually think he broke his arm. Russ didn't get in trouble, and Michael was forced to leave camp. And that was the moment that I started to realize that Russ may not have been the cool guy that he thought he was. As camp progressed, I started getting more annoyed with Russ. Maybe I was
This one
growing
might
more
work.
mature, or maybe I just saw through his little game. But
Yeah,
either way,
this is
I
it.
was
This
kinda
is the
going
one.
through the motions now.
But this is what I'm gonna do.
At first, everybody laughed at Russ and loved him, but now everyone was starting to get annoyed with him, and much like I was. He was obsessed with these pranks and playing pranks on campers that he deemed to be nerds or lesser than him. And one night, our group was sitting around our bunks telling scary stories.
No, I
and
messed it
stories
up.
about things that happened in our hometowns. And that's when Russ stepped in and had to one-up us. In a confident and almost arrogant voice, Russ started to tell us a story. And he said, "You guys think those are scary stories? Why didn't you hear this one? I was waiting for the right time to bust this out, but tonight seems like a good night. I told you guys before that my brother went to this camp years ago when he was my age. He said that in the woods, there's an abandoned shack. It's not far from here, but it's in the direction that we don't travel for hikes and other activities. This shack is haunted, like actually haunted. The old camp director used to murder his victims in that shack until he was caught and died trying to escape the
That
cops.
escalated quickly.
They say his spirit still haunts the shack, and if you go visit the haunted shack on quiet nights like this, you can hear the ghostly spirits of all the poor souls the camp director took." I didn't believe it for a second. I'm not a paranormal guy, but apparently the rest of the guys were, and since they all looked like they were going to cry, I rolled my eyes, and Russ continued his story. "Since I didn't believe my brother, he told me exactly how to get to the shack.
What do you guys think?
If you
Good
guys
warm-up
are down,
sketch?
right now."
Why does this
There's an immediate
actually look
protest
like
from the
it will
group.
become a future
spoke
Pokemon? I
up
hope
first,
it does. I hope
"Wait,
it does.
dude,
I forgot his
not because I'm
freckles.
scared of
I
you
just
stupid
realized
ghosts,
that.
but I'm scared of getting caught and kicked out of camp."
I
Russ
forgot his
laughed and called me
freckles.
something I'm not going to type here, and he always had a way of manipulating people into doing what he wanted. After a several-minute debate, he got everybody to agree to go except
One of them,
me,
I guess, would be under the
and I
star.
was labeled the coward of
Be
the
like
group.
right here.
He says,
Yeah, let's
"If you're not afraid of the
go.
ghosts,
He's so
then
good.
you won't mind
Okay.
being the one that enters the shack.
Let's
If you
work
do
on
that,
what?
we
Like,
have to
let's
tell
work on
everyone
something
here how tough and brave you are."
actually official now.
Yeah,
Now that
sadly,
sad clown
what he actually
Oshawott
said.
is done.
and that worked on me. More out of anger and annoyance, I just finally agreed to go.
Okay.
We started walking into the thick brush of the forest. And
Pulling
once
up
the
that
camp lights were in
Bowser
sight,
ref
we
now.
turned on our flashlights as we traveled through the part of the forest where there weren't any trails. There was barely any room to even walk. I'm not sure exactly how far we walked, but after a little while, I couldn't believe my eyes.
Make a shell
There
of
in
flower.
front of me was
Maybe.
an old,
We're gonna
decrepit
move
shack,
on to the actual
dominated by
drawing for
nature's
today.
surroundings.
But if I
started
go
to
back
hear
and
some of
edit
my
it,
bunkmates
I can
say
make it a
"no
flower.
way" and other forms of just
Actually, it
banter.
should take me that
And I
long.
started to
Screw
think
it.
to
Let's
myself,
just do it.
Maybe Russ was telling
It shouldn't
the truth
take me that
after
long
all.
to do this.
He demanded that I go check it out, and I was scared. I thought about his story, and even though I don't believe
Whoops.
in ghosts, just being around this abandoned shack in the middle of the night after hearing that story I honestly felt like I was going to pee my pants. I started to get egged on by the group, hearing things like, "You were so tough, what happened?" and other forms of mockery. I had to check it out since I did make it here. Might as well. And I slowly
Let's
made
just
my
do
way to the
this
door.
instead. Just gonna put
I
it on
barged through,
top.
was
Might
able
as
to make
well.
it inside. And this was bigger than a shack. It was more like a small cabin. Maybe the size of a studio apartment or something, or even a one-bedroom apartment. The inside was completely destroyed. And as I walked through and shined my light, I noticed something strange on the ground. There was a bottle of beer, and I'm not joking. It was cold when I touched it. I could see the perspiration ring from the bottle on the wood floor. I shined my light up, and further in the distance was a plastic bag, and coming out of the plastic bag,
I put it
was
on the
an
wrong
open bag
freaking
of
layer
chips.
again!
At
Ah!
this moment, I couldn't put the pieces
Tired
together
of
in my
drawing
head
on the wrong
fast
layer,
enough.
guys.
I was intrigued, scared, and confused all at the same
Also,
time.
hello, J-Master. Welcome,
In the back
welcome,
of the
welcome
shack
to
seemed be
the
a small
stream.
room. And when I eventually made it to this room, I stopped
We're doing a
and shined
warm-up
the light
sketch,
all
if you're
around.
wondering
As the
what
light
in
got to the
God's name
corner of
this
the room,
is.
I saw it. A woman standing there. And I swear to God, my skin legitimately turned cold. And I
Uh-oh,
immediately
that's
felt
not
sick.
cool.
She held her hands up, and sort of in like a quivering voice, she said, "Don't say anything." She didn't look scared. She looked almost angry, like she was warning me. I heard Russ shout from outside if I was okay, and I didn't answer because the woman was shaking her head at me not to. After my brief silence, and against my better judgment, I decided to scream the word, "Run." And I started to run out of the shack. I heard the woman curse something, but I didn't turn back. But I could hear her struggling to run through the shack, seemingly giving chase. When I got outside, I screamed at the group that someone was in there and we needed to run. They all looked confused, like I was messing with them. But then the woman jumped through the doorway, screaming something unintelligible at us. And we immediately
Girlie
all
jumped
ran back
through
to
the
camp
door? Are you kidding me?
we immediately were met by half the staff who were rubbing their eyes but incredibly upset that we snuck out. I tried to explain to them what happened, tried to explain that there was a squatter living inside that camp, but they didn't believe us. They said that they were going to call our parents tomorrow morning, which I was thrilled about. Now I wanted to go home. And the next morning the camp director came into our bunk and sat us all down. He told us that they woke up early and went to the shack in the woods and saw exactly what we described. They even found multiple footprints that went in and out the other direction. For our safety, they ended up calling camp early for everyone, not just our group specifically. They didn't know if this woman or maybe multiple people were dangerous, and it definitely wasn't worth risking our lives. I'm so thankful that I got out of the situation unharmed. And it's affected me mentally for years, but I eventually came to peace with the incident. I never spoke to any of those guys again, especially not Russ, even though they did say
Oh my goodness, I
it was
ruined the whole
kind of
piece.
hardcore to do all of that. At the end of the day, I have no
There he
idea what
is.
happened to everybody, and it wouldn't surprise me if that idiot's in jail
I
or
love
something,
him.
but
Oh, I forgot to
I'll
sign
be honest
him.
with you guys.
Oh no.
Be careful who you trust and hang out with, because they might just lead you into a situation.
Where do I want
that
to
could
sign
be
this
your last.
actually? On this side, right here. There we go. Perfect. Officially done. Sad Clown Oshawott is officially done, guys. Beautiful. I will be posting this
When I was in my junior
later,
year of
so
college, it was recommended to me by one
I
of my
love it.
advisors and
Okay.
mentors to volunteer. at a
now
summer
we're gonna
camp
work
for young
on
teens.
the Bowser piece.
The idea of a
This
summer
has to
camp
be
wasn't
good
really my
too.
thing, but this was one of these gigs that would look
Even
good
if
on
I
my
just
resume
just
for
do like
potential
a
employer
sketch
given my
today,
degree
I'll be
program.
okay with that.
And before the end of the year, I researched the area around my hometown and found a camp only about an hour away.
I might
And
have
they were looking
lost
for
all of my
counselors.
face tracking there because I was
I
having
jumped
a
on the
good
chance.
sip
and
of my
after
pop
a phone
over here.
interview with a guy named Stan, I secured my position. This
The best
particular camp
commission I
started
never
right after
paid
the
for.
4th of
It's
July and ran until the
brilliant.
third week of August.
It was a
During the
drawing
duration,
request
we would
from
see
you,
several
Bacon.
different iterations of campers.
And also kind of
On
Pokemon
July
at the same
5th,
time.
which was the day before camp started this year, I drove up to meet Stan and all the other fellow
How am I gonna do
counselors,
this piece?
staff, and most importantly, to get familiar with the grounds, which were quite large. I arrived at around 11 a.m., and standing right outside of a big house was a tall, burly man, and they were waving. To the left of the house was a parking lot, and the man was gesturing for me to pull in over there. After I parked, I started approaching the man with my hand extended to shake, and the man started laughing. In a sort of jolly southern accent, he said, "Hey, we hug around here, friend. Name's Stan. You must be Cassie?" Being hugged by a strange man would usually send me into sort of an uproar, but this guy had a real sort of Santa Claus quality about him. Just
Trying to
with
look for a
black
good
beard
Bowser
instead of
ref.
white. I realized quickly while talking
He looks
to him
kind of
why all the
funky.
kids loved him and why this camp had
He
glowing
has like
reviews.
this kind of face.
Stan was a tremendous human being, and he just had a presence.
That's
that
how
you wanted
Bowser's
to be
face
around.
looks.
He gave me a map and personally started to
Cassie
escort me around the
FNAF.
grounds.
Yo, is this turning
When
into
we
Five
arrived
Nights
at
at
the lake, in his
Freddy's?
still ever cheerful voice, he said, "I'm gonna hand you over to my wife now. I have some formality things I need to get done, but you're going to love her, and she'll take you to where all the girls bunk." I looked behind me, and a beautiful older woman was making her way to the lake. She smiled and waved, and in an energetic voice
I want to
said,
do like a
"Hi,
cute
Cassie.
Bowser.
I'm Paula, Stan's wife.
Like Bowser's
Let me show you
adorable,
where the
but
girls
I want to
sleep, and then
do
I'll
like
show
a
you where
cute
you'll be sleeping,
Bowser.
and introduce you to the other counselors." The entire walk with Paula was much like the walk with Stan. She was lovely and just a joy to speak with. She showed me the cabins and showed me which cabin I would be solely responsible for, since every counselor would be responsible for one bunk of campers. Then we made our way to a huge wooden building, which was the recreation building. It was where the campers would eat dinner and partake in camp activities, and this is where I met all my fellow counselors, and we all clicked right away. I was excited about the weeks ahead and figured this wasn't the worst way to spend summer. That night I couldn't sleep. All the counselors had their own cabin to sleep in, and it was much nicer than you would expect. It was 2 of us in a room, and the rooms were spacious enough that we would have privacy if we wanted. Since I couldn't sleep, I figured that I would take a walk around the grounds. Now, my roommate Ashley was sound asleep and didn't wake up when I left the room. I didn't feel like I was sneaking out, since Stan and Paula both told me numerous times that the grounds are now my home, and I can do whatever I like when I'm not with the children. The grounds were somehow even more beautiful at night.
Oh, I could try
The
to do
number of stars in the
this.
sky was
There's a
staggering
Mario
compared to
64
what I was used to.
render.
While I was walking, I remembered I had a book in my car, and I figured I could grab it and
I
read it
could
in my
do
room
this.
until I was tired enough to fall asleep. On my way to the car, I passed by the big house that I noticed when I first pulled in. It was a big white
Yes,
mansion.
yes,
and the
yes,
lights were
yes,
on
yes.
inside.
I found it.
I didn't mean to snoop.
I
but
found
as
it,
I walked
folks.
by, I just happened to glance in the windows.
We're gonna draw
I
it like
saw
this,
Stan and Paula
actually.
talking to 2 men I didn't recognize. These 2 guys were definitely not staff from the camp. I try not to judge people, but these guys looked like pretty questionable folks. The demeanor of Stan and Paula was also different from how they carried themselves earlier. I couldn't hear them, but from what I could see, it looked like Stan was yelling at these guys. I honestly didn't think too much about it. It could have just been friends or even family, and it wasn't my business, and I just carried on as such. I grabbed my book and started to walk back to my cabin. I passed that white house and just kept walking. When I was about 30 yards away, I heard someone shout my name. I turned around and Paula was practically chasing me. She seemed to get defensive and asked me if I was looking in on them or invading their privacy. I was honest with her and told her that I couldn't sleep, so I went for a walk and just grabbed my book. She had a look that I can't really describe, but it felt like she didn't believe me. In a dismissive tone, she says, "Okay, dear, we'll head back to your cabin. We got a big day tomorrow." I went
Mario's
back to
nose
the
is
cabin and
huge,
tried to read,
folks.
but I was too distracted by
It's
that
so
weird interaction with
big.
Paula. I thought about it for a while, and I eventually fell asleep. I woke up the next morning feeling great, even with lack of sleep, and the campers arrived, and camp had officially started. The week went on, and I eventually forgot about my sort of run-in with Paula, and one night, about a week into camp, I couldn't sleep again. It was around 2 in the morning, and I was just laying there. I jumped up because I thought I had heard a noise. I went out into the hall, figuring it was one of the counselors just going to the restroom, or maybe even coming back to the cabin after sneaking out. When I got to the landing of the stairs that overlooked the living room, I noticed that all the
Mario's
lights were
nose
still
so
on.
big.
Even in the dark living room, I could see two figures, seemingly going through bags. There was enough light shining through the window from the outdoor
It's
sensor
so
light.
big.
I didn't say anything at first because I still figured that these two
I think
people
I got
were
it,
probably
though.
counselors. I started to slowly creep down into the living room, and when I finally reached the bottom, the one figure turned and looked at me. I recognized him right away. It was one of those two
He's got a
guys
Dean
that I saw that
schnoz.
first night,
Yeah.
walking by Stan
He's
in
got a
place.
schnoz, alright.
His eyes were wide.
A real
His cheeks were
schnoz.
completely sunken in. I tried to scream or say anything, but I just felt paralyzed. He started to approach me slowly, and at the same time, he reached for something in the back of his waistband. I finally was able to let out a scream, and the
Does
other
he have a
man grabbed
gun?
me by the shoulder and said, "We gotta go now." The man never broke eye contact with me and moved backwards until he stepped back through the door and seemingly ran into the night. Seconds later, a bunch of counselors ran out and saw me shivering at the base of the steps. I was stumbling.
Also,
over
I was
my
originally
words,
going to
but I was able
do
to convey to them what had just
Rainbow
happened.
Bowser. I think I'm
One of
gonna
the
give them
counselors
both
called Stan and came down
sunglasses.
in his four-wheeler right
I
away,
would like.
and I explained to
Okay,
him what
the
happened.
idea has
And
changed,
then
but
out
I
loud in
like it
front of
better.
everyone, I said, "It was those two guys I saw you talking to on the first night here." Stan looked confused and just sort of laughed. In that same jolly voice, he said, "Why, sweetie, I don't have any earthly idea what you're talking about. I don't remember talking to anybody that night unless they work here at the camp." The back and forth continued for a while, until finally Ashley grabbed me and pulled me away because she could see that I was getting ready to lose it. Stan left eventually and told us that he would be alerting the proper authorities and that we had nothing to worry about. After he left, a few of the guys who left their bags in the living room noticed that their wallets had been stolen. And as terrible as that is, thankfully not all of us had been robbed. The next day I told Paula what had happened and that a few of the guys had got robbed. She looked right at me and said, "Whatever you think is going on, you're wrong. There was a terrible incident, and it will be taken care of."
Sounds like a
decided to leave right after that
threat, ma'am.
conversation. Since I didn't sign some contract or anything crazy like that, I felt like it was within my rights to just say goodbye. And I marched over to Stan and basically told him that I quit in so many words. He didn't stop me from leaving and just apologized for my unpleasant stay. I never pursued this any further and never got really any answers as to who those guys were, what they wanted, and what their relationship with Stan and Paula were. I figured that any legal recourse that I took would basically be a dead end, so I just left it alone. This is the first time I'm telling this story since my brief stay at that summer camp over 15 years ago. I know I made the right choice leaving that day. I had a bad feeling in my stomach that I would certainly see those intruders again if I stayed, and I'm happy that I never had to deal with summer camp ever
The
again.
Elite Four is hella hard in BDSP. It actually is. The first time I fought Cynthia in that game, I legitimately, we tied. So I lost, because it still counts it as a loss when you tie. But we tied, and it was very, very close. Also, could we please stop with these ads?
When I was 16 years old,
Okay.
my parents made me go to a summer camp that was several hours away from my hometown. Yeah, that's right. I said they made me go. At the time, I started some extracurricular activities that were bringing my grades down and ultimately got me into some legal trouble.
Need a
at the
break
end
from
of
the
school
ads?
year.
That's how I feel.
To keep a watchful eye
That
on
like
me and
stupid.
make
Does
sure that I
anybody
wasn't
know what I'm
doing
talking
anything
about? That
illegal,
like stupid
my parents
freaking
assumed sending me to
audio.
a camp would be the fix.
That's just like, need a break
I
from
hated
the
it at the
ads.
time and resented
Do you
my
need a break
parents.
from the ads?
I now realize over a decade later, my parents were just
You know, like
trying to
speeds
help
up. It's
and
weird.
didn't understand the best course of action. This was one of those camps that lasted the entire length of the summer. It was almost like a boarding school, but instead of school, you were doing more outdoor activities and campish things. You could send your child there for an entire summer or week, depending on how much you wanted to pay. I was able to compromise with my parents, and we agreed that I could go for 3 weeks. I was miserable on the car ride up. I was thinking about all my friends hanging out, the girl I liked.
Need a
and
break from
most
the ads? Yeah,
importantly at the
okay, you know
time,
what I'm talking
my precious
about.
Xbox 360 that wasn't going to be played. One thing I noticed
Yo,
right away
Xbox
was the lack of
360
campers my
mentioned.
age. This camp had a ton of junior
I've never owned an
kids, and
Xbox.
only a few high
I've always been a
schoolers like
Nintendo
me.
person and a PlayStation
And my
person.
cabin where I slept was a
I
group
ain't
of
never
7
owned
other
an
guys,
Xbox in
at
my
least
life.
close to my age. These were mostly outdoorsy type kids. They loved hiking, s'mores, and everything about camp. I was an outsider right away. All my cabin mates were returning campers that had been coming for years. They told me right away that I would grow to love the place, that my shy and negative demeanor would wear off, and I didn't believe that for 1 second. I have never been into the whole kumbaya thing. It's why I never got into sports or any team
Kumbaya, my
activities.
lord.
As far as I was concerned, these 3
Oh, that's
weeks
gonna
were
be
a jail
stuck in my
sentence,
head
and I
now
just
for the
needed to
rest
wait
of
out
the
clock
evening.
until it was time to go home. The first 5 or 6 days, I did just that. I kept to myself and did some mandatory activities. Most of the time, I spent in the common room. It was a big cabin in the center of camp that had a pool table, a bunch of books, and most importantly,
He
it
looks
was
good
quiet.
so far.
Most campers spent their days and afternoons out swimming, hiking, and doing all sorts of activities that the camp provided.
Oh no.
Toward the end of my first week, one of my cabin mates suggested
Now he
that I
doesn't
go
look so
swimming with
good.
him.
What did I do
I
here?
said suggested, but he practically begged me to go. I was reluctant because I wasn't fond of my cabin mates or anything about this camp, but I was hot and went anyway. I was shocked to admit to myself that I actually had a great time.
I must draw a
This is when
shiny
camp
hop
started
up
to
here.
feel
I'll
like
draw
something
one.
more than jail.
Well, if I draw one
I was
on here, it
having,
unfortunately
believe
won't
it or
stay.
not,
So I'll draw one
fun.
on another canvas.
I couldn't believe it. After that afternoon, I
Hello,
don't think I ever
Delito.
went
Welcome,
back to the
welcome
common room.
to the
I spent my
stream.
time with my cabin
Hope
mates
you're
and
having a
even met
good
girl named Amy.
Thursday. It is
Being the older
Thursday
kids
today.
At camp, we had a much stronger relationship with the counselors. I appreciated that they didn't treat us like children and talk to us like peers.
What's
It was always
good? We
respectful and
vibing.
professional, but at the same
We
time,
drawing
it
Mario.
felt like we were talking to one of the guys.
He looks so good.
The last weekend of my stay came before I knew it, and I was upset to leave. I almost couldn't admit it, but it was the truth. My parents were coming to pick me up on Sunday afternoon, so my cabin mates and I
We're
agreed
sketching
Friday and
Mario right
Saturday
now,
night that
actually.
we were going
Not
to go
drawing
out of our way
him.
to have a memorable weekend. Since I was the quote bad guy of the group, I stole a bunch of snacks and we loaded up our cabin. We were going to stay up all night playing card games and just hanging out.
The new
Nothing
capture
too
card that
crazy.
I got from Amazon works.
ordinarily, I
Hey,
would
let's
suggest something like
go!
sneaking
That's
out or something
awesome.
like
That's
that,
so
but
cool
I
to
didn't even
hear.
want to do anything that crazy.
Did you get like a
I just
discount on
wanted
it
to
on
hang out
Prime
with my new
Days?
friends.
I hope you did.
A
Save
little after
some
midnight,
money.
a few of the guys fell asleep. 4 of us were playing blackjack and using some mini candy as
Mario
betting
be
chips.
looking like a cool guy.
One
He
of my
looks
friends who
freaking
was lying in
cool. I
bed
like
but
him.
not
His
sleeping
hat
jumped up
seems a little
erratically and shouted,
small.
"Whoa!"
I might have to
What the heck was
resize
that?
it a bit and play around with it a
The
bit.
sudden movement and sharp tone caused us all to be a little alarmed. We asked what he
I'm
was
gonna
talking
mess around
about.
with his hat for a
He paused
second
for a
here.
minute, and staring out the windows, he said, I swear I just saw someone in that tree. And when we made eye contact, he just jumped down and ran. Then we all laughed, thinking that he was just being an idiot. The windows aren't like normal
Looks
windows.
better like that.
Across the
Let's
top of the
just
cabin
fill
where the
in
walls meet the ceiling,
the little
there's
gaps.
a long window that goes around the entire perimeter of the cabin. He got upset and even had tears in his eyes. Now, if this was a joke, he was fully dedicated to the prank at this point. One of my friends doubted him, claiming that there was no
Mario.
way that you could see out the windows of the cabin,
It's a
especially at this
me.
hour. And he began to disagree.
That's my impression.
He told us
It's
to lie down on his bed
me.
and stare up at the window.
Ma.
And by God, he was right. You could see the trees out of the window, and in a loud, nervous voice, he said, I was just looking for the tree. and
Oh
I
no,
thought
wait! I was
his
gonna
face-
draw them with
I
sunglasses.
know that sounds crazy.
Oh well,
but
I'll add them after.
I just kept staring and didn't say anything. When I started to really focus, I could finally see it. It was a face, and it was staring right at me. When I reacted, he jumped down. I heard his feet hit the ground, dude.
That's creepy, by the way.
One of my friends suggested that we
I
go
don't like that.
outside and look at the dirt below the tree.
Why are you
If it
going
had footprints or Any
outside?
sign of activity, we would
Why
alert
would
the
you go
counselors, but if it
outside?
didn't,
Oh my
we just
goodness.
Chalk it up to his imagination. 2 friends and I went outside, and we didn't even need to make it to the tree. Standing right beside the cabin, almost like he was hiding.
I'm fighting
This
the
person.
urge to not do the little
He
hair
stopped
here.
abruptly,
I won't do it.
blinking.
But
Then
I'm
he heard us,
fighting.
looked
I'm
with one of
fighting
most
the
horrifying
urge.
faces I'd ever seen.
I'm fighting
and
the
ran into
urge
the
to not
woods.
do the hair.
We
Just
all
a
ran as
little
fast as we
hair.
could back into the cabin. We were shouting, but not loud enough that the counselors would have heard us. Instead of waking them up, for some reason, we decided to deliberate on the situation and figure out the best course of action. Before reaching a decision, without notice, one of the counselors ran into our cabin, shut the door, and immediately locked it. He was tense.
Bro
In
does
an
have
almost shout, he
sideburns.
said, "Turn off the lights. Get into your beds." We tried to ask what was wrong.
30
telling him what we
bucks
saw,
for
but
your
he
capture
was almost
card? That's a
ignoring us.
steal, dude.
A few minutes later, we saw
I
the
had
lights
a
of the
couple
park
of
ranger
test
trucks.
rooms, but I
The
finally
counselor
got
ran out
our
to speak with the rangers,
friend
and seconds
voices
later,
and mine
all
on
the other
stream.
counselors were there
Nice! Let's
speaking
go.
to the
That's
rangers.
awesome, man. That's
Now, one of the
awesome.
rangers was a blonde woman.
So I had a
couldn't hear what
fun
any of them
2-hour
were saying.
Fortnite shenanigans
looked
stream.
erratic and
Nice,
nervous
nice,
as he
nice,
was
nice.
shouting
Good way
at
to
her.
celebrate your capture
She
card
pointed to the
working,
forest
for
and nodded,
sure.
and then the rangers got into their trucks and started to drive away.
Okay, let's
The
do these
counselors all stayed out in the
sunglasses.
center of the cabins talking for a few minutes. Each one of them eventually went to the various cabins and told us it was a false alarm, and then we needed to go to bed.
Actually, I'm gonna do them on
We
a
were
different layer
furious
so I can
and
play
wanted
around
to know
with
what
them.
was going on, and if it had anything to do with what we just saw. And instead of answering us, they just kept shushing us and telling us that it was
Just
nothing.
gonna
Nobody was there.
lower that slightly.
We didn't sleep that night, and honestly, nothing happened the next day. I tossed and turned all night on Saturday night as well. Sunday morning came and my parents came to pick me up. I told them what happened, and they asked the camp director, who told my parents that one of the campers was playing a prank and scaring the other cabins. One of the counselors thought it was a real threat and called the rangers in. He assured my parents that it was a false alarm and nothing to worry about. But I didn't buy that for 1 second.
I'm not
I
looking
saw
at
that
a
man's
reference for
face
these
clearly, and
sunglasses, by
even
the
though it
way,
was
so
dark, the
if they
man
look
was at least in his early
shitty, just bear
40s.
with me.
To this day, I'm still friends with the guys from the cabin, and just recently, we all caught up and reminisced about that night, and every single one of them remembers it the exact same way as me. I don't know what happened that night. I don't know who that guy
Yes,
was or
this
what he
is
wanted.
it.
Most
Uh-oh.
importantly, I don't know why
Bad
the camp
idea.
wouldn't admit anything. Maybe it was bad publicity. But either way, that was one of the most horrifying experiences in my life, and I'll never forget the look on that creep's face.
Wait, should they be shutter shades? Hold on now. Hold on now. This could be peak if we do shutter shades.
I've always loved camps and summer camps, even stemming back to movies like Heavyweights or Camp Nowhere that I watched before I even
Yes,
attended any
it's
summer camp.
yes. Yes.
There's a popular summer camp here in the Northeast that I started attending when I was maybe 12 or 13 years old. We had a family friend that worked there and was able to give my parents a discount because
Yes,
otherwise they
it's
wouldn't have
shutter
been able to afford to send me.
shades.
I attended camp almost
Yeah.
every summer during my teenage
It's
years,
so good.
creating
He
great
looks
memories
so
and friendships
good.
that lasted a very long time.
Let's go.
Once college came along, I took a break over the summer to do internships that were required for graduation.
Mind you, this is what I'm
I
getting.
was also working part-time at a local
Like,
grocery store.
the
to make some
Mario
extra
to
money do things with my
side.
friends, pay for a cell phone,
Oh.
etc. After graduation, the first thing I wanted to do was find a new job. I had enough retail work for the rest of my life and wanted to try to
I
find
love it.
something different.
It's
I did a
so
few interviews,
good.
but wasn't able to land anything
Oh.
concrete. June rolls along.
So now
and
you
my
will be
parents had
able
that same family friend
to
over
see
for
me
dinner
and my
that still
friends
works at the summer camp.
unhinged conversations.
My
Nice,
parents
good,
mentioned
good.
that I had been looking for a job.
That's all I
and
could
she
ask
says,
for.
"Well, why don't
Delito.
you come work at the camp?
That's
They're
all I
always
need in
looking
my
for help,
life.
and I could put in a good word." Sure, I thought.
You
It
look
beats the
so
hell out of
good.
scanning and
I
bagging
might move them
groceries and putting
down
carts away.
slightly.
I had a very informal interview over the phone and basically talking about myself and experience as a kid at the camp. They basically gave me the job on the spot because after a few questions they said I would work 2
Oh,
weeks
yes.
and could either go home for a week or stay and work through while the session changed over. Campers could stay in between sessions as well, but at this camp, the main sessions were 2-week overnights. I decided that I would work 2 weeks and then take a week off, and if it went
This is
well,
peak. This is
then
peak
I would
right now,
consider
guys.
stay during the shift week to make some extra money. The job was really easy. I wasn't really a counselor. I helped more in the kitchen or with some of the outdoor activities and really just floated around to whichever area needed me or needed the most help. I had made it through almost the entire summer without incident. I hadn't messed up on the job and all the kids were pleasant, and We didn't really have any major issues. Since we weren't counselors, we had our own living quarters and places to sleep. The counselors and co-counselors stayed in the bunks, where some of the other workers had a little more freedom. Some of the other workers in similar positions to mine lived close enough to just go home each day. And I remember one night in, I think August, it was especially hot. I was having trouble sleeping, I couldn't get comfortable and was tossing and turning for hours. I decided to get up, grab some water, and just pop outside to see if the night air was any more refreshing. I quietly ducked out the main door and was relieved at how nice the night air felt, much more comfortable than it was inside. I took a few sips of water and started looking up at the night sky when I noticed something out of my peripherals. There was something flashing outside of one of the bunks, like something was blocking or shaking the light outside one of the cabins. I started to move closer and saw something outside the door under the light. I thought maybe it was a raccoon. I even remember thinking, please tell me it's not a baby bear. But as
Oh
I
my
got
god,
closer,
could you
it was
imagine?
a kid. A little boy. He was pointing at the light and waving his arm up and down while still pointing. Hey there. Are you okay? I whispered. He just kept pointing at the light and then every 10 seconds or so, slowly moving his arm up and down while still maintaining the pointing motion.
You can't
this
really
your bunk?
see his overall
said.
buttons in this,
Still
so I'm just
nothing.
gonna give him
Okay,
some.
let's go inside and go to sleep now. And the boy obliged and headed inside with me when I opened the door. I woke up the co-counselor and said, hey, there was just a kid outside your bunk. Someone who could have easily wandered off. He was surprised and said, how did he get outside? I
Sure,
shrugged and
at
just
this
said,
point, this looks
I
fine.
don't know. He looked annoyed and responded, I'll talk to Alex tomorrow and see what happened. I remember just walking off annoyed and upset. I didn't know the rules, but I did know that there were training and safeguards to make sure that the campers were safe at all times. And clearly, some type of protocol
This is
was
peak.
bypassed
This is
for a
it. This
camper
is
to
it,
be out at
folks.
night
This is
unattended.
peak.
The next day was really busy, and the incident left my mind briefly until I headed over to the main building with some arts and crafts supplies.
let's
for
sketch
a project
Bowser
the kids
now.
would be working on.
Because
When we got
Bowser's
to
gonna
the
go
art room,
here.
There were a few kids finishing up some projects and getting ready to head down the hall to eat, and I saw the same boy from last night. This time he was standing in the corner with his face looking directly at the wall. I looked over to one of the coworkers and said, what's going on? She looked at him and she said, I don't know. He isn't
Oh my
responding to me
God.
either. I walked over to the corner. Hey buddy, do you remember me? What do you say we go and grab something to eat? And no response. But I did notice it wasn't completely silent. I was hearing something like whispers, like someone was talking but I couldn't make out the words. As I got closer, it grew a little bit louder and I could now see the boy's mouth moving and his eyes were closed. He was whispering very fast and very low. I tapped him on the
I
shoulder
don't like that.
and he bolted with a huge smile on his face.
Don't mess
Hi,
with that,
I'm Timmy.
bro. I don't mess with that.
He said as he turned away from the wall and started skipping towards the door to head to the cafeteria. Another day passed, and I was up out of bed early just like every morning. I usually took a walk before I showered, and I like to be up before the day got too busy and everyone was up and using the facilities. But this morning there were a lot of my coworkers already up and outside. They were all huddled together talking, so I slowly walked over and said to them, wow, you're all up early today. Yeah, we didn't get much sleep. One of Alexander's campers had to go home in the middle of the night. It sounded like he had some sort of episode. It freaked out a lot of the other campers, and a few of them got picked up by their parents as well. It was the talk of the camp for the next few days, with stories playing the game of telephone and becoming more and more exaggerated every time I heard it. One thing that I did hear from a senior counselor that I was never able to confirm is there were scratches of some type of carvings under the little boy's bunk, and that he decided to
What?
replace a few of the boards. But I think they may have just been camp gossip and not actually real.
Ooh.
I haven't been back
I
to
don't
the camp
know,
in
don't
years,
mess
but
with
every now
that.
and again I think about it and all the good memories that I've made.
Don't mess
And
with
every
that.
so often I think about this story and wonder what really happened.
Oh,
with
he
that
looks
poor
weird without
boy.
his angry eyebrows. Cheery Bowser. Happy Bowser isn't real. He can't hurt you. Happy Bowser. Because of course he has his angry eyebrows.
I love being alone.
Me and Bowser
I
have
secured my
the
dream
same
job when I was 20
eyebrows.
years old, and I moved to a secluded area near a lake to be alone. My job is all on the computer, and I'm able to design my products in solitude and send them in. I know most people think I'm depressed or angry, but the truth is, I just love quiet and my own company.
Happy Bowser
A
became
few
evil
years
Bowser.
ago,
He did.
A family bought a ton of land.
I'm
near
sick
me
of
and
mess
opened a summer camp.
prints.
I was
Bullcrap.
curious about this.
Well, is
I
he
just
not
prayed that
going
it
in
was
the
far
first
enough away that I
Pokeball?
wouldn't be sucked into the ruckus
Not
of the
like
camp.
Azolf. He had to be
My
different from
nightmares came
Azolf.
true. At the
How
beginning
dare
of summer, we would
he?
hear all of the cheering
Anyways, I
activities
did a
all day
mini
long.
raid
Even
because, you
some nights
know,
were loud.
came here to
I
show
fought
you
for
some
any kind of
support, but I'm
justice,
gonna go to
but
bed. Well,
they weren't
thank
doing
you,
anything
Delito.
wrong.
I appreciate it a whole
Annoying me
freaking
isn't a
lot.
crime, even though I wish it
Have a
was.
nice sleep.
It
Have
took
a
me
good
few
night.
years, but I finally got
Take
used
care.
to
I'm
the
not
noise.
streaming until
I
next
remember
week,
I
so I
had to
hope you
run
have a
in with one
lovely
of the staff
weekend as
members
well.
one time
Take
because
care, man.
He was trespassing on my property, and I'll never forget his smug attitude. He looked right at me and said, "Settle down, lady.
I don't know if it
You're
matters
acting like the
much in
Grinch."
your drawing, but I
And
remembered
he walked away
how
laughing.
small Bowser's
After that
pupils
day,
actually
occasionally
are.
a few older kids
Yeah,
would walk
like
near my
it's
house,
so
and I could
I'm
hear them
looking
saying
at
things
a
like, "That's where the Grinch
render
lives,"
from Mario
and other things
64
like
as like
that.
a reference right now.
I didn't
He
care
has
about
small
that,
pupils,
and
but I'm
I
gonna
sort of
cover it with
embraced the nickname
sunglasses
after a
anyways.
while. I eventually got the owners of
So
the
you
camp
won't be able
put
to
these
see them,
yellow
but they are
markers on my
actually
property
very
line.
small.
This would show the staff and campers not to go past the line.
I'm gonna send
the
you a
owner's
clip
credit,
in
he
DMs.
enforced it.
Please do. Thank
I
you.
even heard a story that
He's
sent
not
a kid
letting me
home
get
to walk
him.
past
Oh
the
no.
line. I don't know if that's true, but
Hopefully,
it's what I
Mess Print
heard.
starts to play
And it took
nice
time,
in a
but
little
they
bit, because
eventually
that's like
started
the most
minding their own
annoying
business
freaking thing
altogether.
ever.
I ended up getting cameras installed on the property, and truthfully, I never saw anyone messing with me
I
for
missed the
several
beginning
years.
of this story.
Until last year, and
Oh well.
that's when everything hit the fan. Camp started like it did every year. I geared myself up to deal with it for the next several months. One night, I got an alert that my camera picked up. It was far too late for any of the campers, so I figured it was a bear or something like that. It was well after 3 a.m., and I pulled up the feed. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was a group of 3 campers. It was 2 boys and a girl. And I was beyond angry.
Bowser
They were
has
just
those
standing
big
on the line of my
muscles, bro.
property, but not passing
He got
it.
those big
I
muscles.
couldn't hear them on the camera, but I could see that they were pointing at my house. I could see them laughing and sort of shoving each other. One of the boys decided to venture onto my property, and I lost my mind. I grabbed a metal cane that I owned, and I was nearly about to go outside and give these
Dude
kids
grabbed a
piece of
metal
my mind.
cane.
When I turned around, all 3 were gone. I didn't know if they went back to the camp or if they were fully on my property now. But the next thing I knew, there was a knock on my door, and I froze. I started making my way to the front door, and there was a knock on the back door. I started walking toward the back door, and I looked out the window, and I saw one of the boys standing at the door.
Bowser's shell is so big.
While I was looking at the back door, I heard the front door open. Now, I know
Oh.
I locked it, so whoever this kid was, he somehow broke the lock and opened the door. And I heard this cocky voice echoing down the hall. "Hello, Grinchy. Are you in here?
Why are
just
we
wanna
breaking
see
into
you."
people's houses, by the way? Like,
I
what
heard
the frig
girl
are we
and he
doing?
were laughing, and I hid behind the door to my back room. I heard one of the kids open the back door and say, "This is Grinchy's house. You think she's home?" I was scared. I know these were teenagers, but it was 3 against 1.
It's
and
the
these 2
new
boys were
hands in
big for
pocket cheat.
teenagers.
Hide
I heard
eyes
all 3
behind
of the kids
sunglasses.
exploring the
Exactly.
house and
That's exactly what I'm
whispering,
doing.
calling me by my
It keeps
camp-given nickname,
falling
as I told
in.
you.
Yeah, it
I
keeps
know at least one of them
fleeing
was
while
upstairs because
asleep.
I could hear the
That doesn't even
footsteps
make
above
any
me,
sense. That's
and
stupid.
another one walked into the room that I was hiding
You
in.
might have to use, like,
was
what
going
is it,
through
mean
desk
look,
drawers
so
and
it
looking
can't
through all my
escape,
stuff.
but that is dumb. It shouldn't
They
be
finally
escaping
left
if it's asleep.
after what seemed like forever.
Kick his ass.
And when I looked at my
Legit,
house
people are
afterward,
in
I
your
felt
house.
sick. They stole a bunch of stuff from me and just made my house look like a complete wreck. I couldn't understand why anybody would just do something so horrible for no reason. I immediately called the police, and they
Good.
got to my house in about 30 minutes. I reported what happened, and of course, I didn't have proof. One of the teenagers went on my computer, seemingly deleting all of the video files that I had connected to my camera, and I didn't know if there was a way to retrieve them or not.
That sucks.
I went
Of
to the
course
camp
the
the
police
next
don't
morning.
believe you.
I told
That's
the owner,
just
who basically accused
classic
me of
police,
lying
I
since our
guess.
relationship at that point had not been the best. He thought I was trying another attempt to ruin him and his camp.
Oh
Those
my
were
god.
his words, not mine. I put the house up for sale not long after that incident and moved to another beautiful, secluded location.
Good.
I don't know how scary this story may be for you, but when you're trapped in your own house and you have unpredictable teenagers who actively don't like you, sneaking around, you let me know if you're scared too. I know I'm not the easiest person to get along with, but what those kids did to me is completely uncalled for, and just goes to show you that some people are just horrible human beings.
That sucks, man. I don't even know what I would do in that situation. Probably cry. Or kick their ass, like Fail said. Kick their ass. Doing a spike at this, like, front-facing angle is, something.
I've heard dozens of horror stories about dangers of dating online. Whether that be looking for love or
It's a lot
looking
of
for something a little
shading
more
is how you
casual,
get
we'll
a
say.
spike to look
I
like
never
it's
cared
coming
much about
at
the
you.
warnings, though.
So the sketch
Since
is not
my
really
identity is hidden
translating
behind
it
this
very
computer
well.
screen, I have no problem admitting that I've been an avid user of a certain dating app for a long time, and the app that I'm referring to is Tinder. I've used this app for years, meeting women and going on a ton of dates.
Oh, we're
I'm
in the
also
Tinder
upfront and
stories
honest
now.
with the women I match with on Tinder. I
No
tell
more
them what I'm
camp
looking
stories for
and
us.
If they're looking for something more serious than me, no hard feelings, and we end our conversation.
Bowser
A
has
couple of
that
months
luscious
back, I had my first real
hair.
scare with the app.
He has
I
that
got
luscious
lazy and
red
didn't
hair.
care as much about being careful who I met. I matched with a beautiful girl named Teresa. She reached out to me before I could even message her. Right away, the conversation turned in the direction that, let's just say, I was looking for. Teresa didn't pull any punches. She was upfront and to the point, and I liked that about her. I eventually asked her if she wanted to come over and hang out, and that's when her tone finally changed. In so many words, she basically said that she didn't want to leave her house because her dog was sick, and she wanted to stay with her dog. Then she said that she was embarrassed to have me come over because she doesn't live in a great area. I assured her that I didn't care where she lived and that I didn't mind at all coming over to her place. She seemed flattered and agreed to have me come over. Then she dropped a new wrinkle into the operation, you see. She said that she
By
lived with
asleep,
her
you
aunt
mean
and
the
that if I
one
was
Lake
going to
Trio
come
member
over,
that
I needed to come over
consistently
tonight
has
when her
always
aunt wasn't going
had
to be home.
its eyes
I
shut?
should
No,
have
that's
seen all the stipulations,
Yuxi.
but I
Mess
didn't.
print is the one that
I was
has
just
like the
excited to hang
red
out with her, and I agreed to
part
come
on
over
it.
that
It looks
night
like
and ask for the
Knuckles
address.
from Sonic.
She told me that I had to wait
But
an hour
mess
and
print will
that I
like
could come.
move around,
What
so
was
it
weird,
escapes
but I
and
didn't
you have to go
realize at the
find it
time,
again,
was that
which
she
is
didn't
super
send me the
annoying.
address right away. After she said to come over
That
in an hour,
teenager
she never
must
responded.
Be a
asked for the
speedrunner
address
to break
twice, and I
in,
never
turn
got a
on the computer,
response.
figure out the
About an
password,
hour
find
later,
where
she
he
finally
keeps the
responded with
footage,
the
then
address and
delete
told
it,
me to message
then
her
go to
when I got
block
there.
him. Yeah, I don't
She
know.
said
That part
something
of it
about the
sounded a
door
bit
being stupid or
strange.
something, and
Like,
that it would just be easier for her
I don't
to
know
come
about
outside
that.
and get me. I put the address into my phone and made the 20-minute drive to her house. She wasn't kidding about the area. It was a street of just old, broken-down houses. Garbage was everywhere, and there was one street light that worked for the entire street.
That's a
When I
red
stopped
flag,
the car
sir.
on the road, I messaged her right away.
Like, how good is
And
this
while I was
Tinder
waiting
date?
for a
Let's be
response, I
real.
noticed none of the houses had any lights whatsoever coming from them. Most of them were boarded up and seemed to look abandoned. And then it dawned on me. I didn't even see numbers on the houses. I had no clue which house belonged to Teresa.
Well,
She
it's
messaged
down
me
to the
back,
old
"I
adage
see
of
you,"
get
with a smiling
good.
face emoji. I scanned the area from inside my car and didn't see anybody, and I messaged back, "Can you come outside?"
Serene, I feel your
I had no
pain.
idea what house
That
is
does not
yours.
sound fun.
A moment later, I saw some figure come to the door of the house across the street. I couldn't see their face, but they were waving at me. I messaged her and said, "Is that you in the black sweatshirt?" I didn't see her message back to me, but I received a message back almost instantly that said, "Yeah, it's cold in here.
Talking about
Hopefully I'll be
streetlights, did you
warmer
notice
soon."
they are
And she
LED
added
now
a wink
instead of
face emoji.
bulbs? I haven't
I
looked at
turned
my
the car off and started to
streetlights
get out.
in a long
I saw that she
time.
wasn't standing where she
So
was
I
just
don't
a
know
moment
what they
ago.
are here.
And I slowly started
Maybe they
making
are
my way
LED
across
ones,
the
I don't even
street,
know.
and as I approached the front
They might
door,
be.
two guys emerged from the driveway. I instantly threw my hands up in self-defense, but it was no use.
This arm needs to be bigger.
Before I could even react, one of the men was hitting me with a bat or something like that.
Strong
The
Bowser
other guy was just
needs
kicking
a
me while I was
bigger arm
down.
than this.
The person inside, who I thought was Teresa,
Oh, yes.
then ran outside. And not only was it not Teresa, but it was a huge dude. He
Oh,
grabbed
no.
my wallet out of my pocket, and
Oh, no.
the three men ran down the road into the darkness. Thankfully, I left my phone in my locked car, and these guys didn't steal my keys for some reason. I was able to crawl to the car and dialed the authorities and told them what happened. Never in my life had I felt so disoriented. Eventually, the one officer basically said that he couldn't do anything. The profile on Tinder was already deleted, and since I didn't really get a good look at any of them, there was no way that I could identify them. And the only thing that sucked about losing my wallet was replacing my ID at that time. The joke was on them, though, since they pretty much robbed a broke man. I think I had $4 in cash in my wallet, and my debit card had virtually no money on it. And I canceled my card and went to the ER that night. Turns out, I had 2 broken ribs.
Like, what a
And I
waste.
think
What are you
all
gonna
things
take?
considered, I was lucky. That's
Not,
all
I have a
walked away
Shauna
with during this
Pokemon card in my
complete
wallet
nightmare.
for no reason. Somebody
I
could
do
take
think about
that.
night all the time. I can't believe how stupid I
Whatever
was.
will I do?
I had tons of red flags in front of me, and I ignored all of them for some fake girl. It makes me angry that these monsters are still out there, probably tricking idiots like me into
I
similar
only need them to
situations.
beat the Elite
I
Four.
wish that I could say that I learned my lesson about Tinder and
Um,
meeting people
yeah, I
online,
hope
but
that Mesh
I
Print
didn't.
starts to play nice with
I'm
you
still
because
out there
that's
meeting new
freaking
people.
frustrating.
I'm just extra careful now and using my head more since
LED
I
are
can
more
never be too
efficient, so
careful
streetlights
when
have
it
been
comes to
getting
online
replaced.
dating.
It's possible that the ones, like the streetlights near me, my local streetlights, have been replaced. I just don't know. I don't remember the last time I like looked up at a streetlight. It's been a hot minute. All the light bulbs in my house are okay. Stop ads. Okay.
About 2 years ago, maybe a little bit more, I got out of a long
All of my lights in my house have been LED lights
Being
for
that
a
I'm the
very
shy
long
type, I
time.
wasn't good at asking girls
I can't remember
out,
the
and
last time I
for
saw
some
like
reason,
an old
it
light
gave me
bulb.
crippling anxiety. I'm not sure if it was the fear of rejection or the embarrassment of my peers, but either way, dating was not my strong suit. When I met my ex, Tinder was just becoming a thing, so I never used the app. And now that I was single, I had a chance to try it for myself. I must admit, I was excited. I know a lot of my friends have had success on Tinder and various other dating
Bowser have
platforms.
abs? Looks like
I
he
had
has
the app
abs
for a
in this
few months
picture.
and nothing exciting happened.
This is the
I did
ab
meet one girl at the
Bowser
park,
render.
but
Why does he have
that date
abs?
lasted
He
all of
legit
like
does.
20 minutes. She got the classic phone call move saying that she had gotten called into work, and then I never heard from her again. I was just about to consider the Tinder experiment a failure, and then I matched with Danielle. Danny
He's got
for
these
sure.
big thighs.
She was beautiful. I half
Big thigh
expected that I was
Bowser.
being played,
Looks like he's
actually.
twerking. Maybe
At
I
one
need
point,
to
I
fix
thought
this.
for sure that this girl was going to be a 50-year-old dude or something, but I continued to talk to her anyway. We agreed to meet at the local park in our area, and the park is a beautiful place. There's a big lake in the middle and massive series of trails that go all around the lake, and we agreed to meet at 5 p.m. when
messed
we
up.
both got out of work. I showed up at 4 just because I was nervous and waited around until I got her
Oh my
message.
goodness, please.
A little after 5, she messaged saying that she was walking to the pavilion where all the picnic tables were. I messaged back and told her that I was heading that way as well. I was beyond happy when I walked up to the pavilion, and sitting right in front of me was Danny. The same Danny from Tinder, and not a 50-year-old man.
Best friend you
I sat down and we talked for a while.
Oh, dude, that
She had
sucks.
this way of calming me down and telling me to not be so nervous. Whatever she was saying and doing.
What stops a
it worked.
Pokemon from
I
fleeing?
was head over heels for this
Mean
girl
Look,
already,
and I
thought
think
I
that
may
there's
have been
another
doing a
one,
good
but I
job
can't
on the
remember.
date since it had
But I
been
know
a
Mean
few
Look is a
hours
move
and
that
she
stops
hadn't
them
left
from
yet.
fleeing. I
We
believe.
decided to go for a
It's
walk
either
on
Mean
one of the
Look or
trails,
Scary
even though it
Face.
was
It's
starting
one
to
of
get
those.
dark out. Ordinarily, I would have never agreed to do this, but I felt all right with Danny for some reason. I reached for her hand at one point, and I nearly melted when she allowed me to hold her hand. And for the first time in a while, I felt something special. We walked for a long time until it was dark. She suggested that we should turn around and start making our way back to the cars, since we had no idea how much longer this trail went for, and it was almost pitch black on the trail. The walk back was nice for a while. Danny was holding my hand and cuddling up against my arm. We weren't far from the lot when I noticed somebody standing in the walkway. I could barely see him, and if it wasn't for the faint light of the moon shining through the trees, I probably would have missed him. I stopped abruptly and asked Danny if she could see him.
You have a Pokemon
She
with
said
mean
that she
look?
could.
Bust that Pokemon
She
out.
shouted and asked
I'm
the
pretty
guy if he
sure it
needed
is mean
anything,
look.
and the
If
person
I'm
just
wrong,
stood
I'm
there.
sorry. I have failed you
I
as a
was
Poke
terrified,
King if I
but I
am
didn't
wrong
wanna
with
seem too
that.
scared in
But I
front of
think it
Danny.
is mean look.
I just suggested that we move and that it was probably just some fool trying to play some joke on us. She agreed, and we slowly continued walking toward the person. As they became more visible, it was becoming more scary, as the figure hadn't budged an inch, and now we could clearly see that he was concealing something behind his back. When we were about 10 feet away, the man finally moved his hands from behind his back, and in his hand appeared to be a knife. But I wasn't sure. And in a low and rough voice, the man said, "Turn around and put your hands above your head."
This is
I had
terrifying.
no idea what to do. Danny, being the little spitfire that she is, started to argue with the man. And before I
What
could
are
even
you
realize
arguing
what was
with the
happening,
man
she
for?
charged
Oh my
right into the
goodness.
guy, knocking him over. And she shouted for me
Whoa.
to run, so I did. I could hear the man running after me as we made our way off the trail. We both ran to her car. She got into the passenger seat and we drove off. I could see the man in the parking lot as we were departing from the park. Along with my car, there were 3 other cars in the parking lot, which made me think, was this guy alone, or were there more people in danger in that park? When we were a safe distance away, we decided to call the police and report what had happened. The man was long gone, and the only car in the lot when the police arrived was my vehicle. I remember having the thought at one point that Danny was setting me up, but thankfully, after her apparent heroic action, that thought was put to bed. After that horrifying
What are we
interaction,
thinking? This
we went to a
slaps so
late-night
far?
diner and just stayed up
I
all
think
night
it
talking.
does.
It was
We have
like
to
that
give
event
Bowser
brought
his
us together
sunglasses.
closer
I
for
almost
some
forgot.
reason.
We have to give him his
And
shutter
in a lot of
shades.
ways, I have mixed feelings about Tinder.
Let's do
The
it.
app almost got me killed, but I also met Danny there, and now she's my fiancée. Whenever we tell people how we met, it's always fun to watch the reaction of people when we tell them that we met on Tinder and almost died on our first date. I still can't
Yeah.
believe what she did that night and that we were able to actually get out of there unharmed. It just goes to show you that sometimes good things can come out of the bad.
Oh, yes. How would Bowser wear these?
Due to the nature
Wait
of
a
my
second.
job, I never found a serious
Does he wear them
relationship.
up here?
I've had some
Around his
semi-serious
horns?
flings, but nothing that lasts more than a few
He doesn't
months.
have
It's one of the few things about my job I don't
ears.
like.
I didn't
While I'm
even
still
do them
somewhat
for
young, I'm
Mario.
using this job to travel and see the world. In the 3 years that I've worked here, I've seen
There's
just about
that
every
for
major
Mario.
landmark in the United States, and
How
I've
does
even got to
Bowser
visit
wear
some other
these?
countries. I'm just now getting to the point in my life
They
though,
just go
where
like
I'm trying to
this.
settle down, or maybe I'm just lonely. I don't know. But a few weeks ago, I had
That's
to
how
travel
they're
to the
going.
other side of the country for work. The
How are
city
they
that I was
staying up?
in
Magic.
was fairly large, and I figured since I
Koopa
was going to
powers.
be staying there for a week, maybe I can try and find
There
some
we go.
companionship. A friend of
It's
mine
so
told me to check
good.
out Tinder. I must have been out of touch because I
Okay.
thought Tinder worked for your hometown,
So,
and I didn't realize
The
that it was
sketch
based
of
on your
this is
current
done. We have
location.
about 30 minutes
I
left
set up my app
before
and started
we
swiping,
kind of
as
call
they
it a
say.
night. I'm gonna
I
work
worked all
on
day, and that afternoon when I checked my app,
one
I
of
was
the
surprised to see
emotes.
how many matches I actually had.
now that this is
Since it was early enough in the
finished.
evening,
This
I decided
slaps.
to
I
try
love
my
this so
luck
far.
and see if I could get someone to go
But
out
we'll
and
work
get
on
a
an
drink with
emote
me.
now.
The first few conversations failed.
Also,
miserably.
speaking of Mario, I
I
was
then
drawing
messaged
this
Jen.
recently.
free
I
spirit and
haven't
someone I
finished
wouldn't mind
it,
hanging out with.
but there's a picture of
After a
Luigi
few
that
minutes, I asked
came
her if she
out,
wanted to go grab a drink, and she was totally down.
and so
We
I
agreed to meet
drew
at
it in my
8:30 at some
style.
local bar.
But I haven't finished
I
this
talked
one
to
yet.
one of my friends
It looks
before
cute
meeting
though.
her, and he joked around for me
Anyways.
to be careful meeting women online. We both laughed, and I was honestly putting zero
Let's do a
stock
good
into this.
square.
I was just looking for some company, and then who knows? If we
I'm
clicked,
gonna.
maybe
Oh,
we could
no, that's
hang
not
out
what I wanted
again.
to do.
I arrived a few minutes
Add a
early.
photo.
And by chance, she
We're
was
gonna add
arriving at
this
the same
one here.
time. We both embraced awkwardly outside the bar. Had a quick
The
chuckle
Luigi
about
pic
it,
was
and
so
made our
beautiful.
way
I saw it on
inside for a
Instagram.
drink.
It was so
The
good.
first thing I was happy
This,
about was
by the
that
way, this is
the
our
woman
sketch
here was the
from
exact same woman in the Tinder
my
profile.
computer for
I
an
feel like I
emote.
hear stories
That's
all the
what
time
this
of people
is.
getting played or catfished
If y'all are
or
wondering.
whatever, so it was nice to see the woman that I actually thought I was talking to. Now, a few hours into our date, we were
You're gonna
getting
get
along
some
very
rest? Well,
We were
have a
making each
good
other
night,
laugh,
K-Dog.
and
Thank
I
you
don't
for
know, it
stopping
just
by,
felt good.
man.
All of it
Appreciate
felt
it
good.
a whole lot.
A few drinks in, she started to give me those friendly
I'll
touches on the
probably
arm
I'll probably
or
end up
hand.
talking to you at some
It
point.
was something
But
about those
I'm not
soft
streaming
and
until
delicate
next
touches
week,
that made me
so
feel
if I don't
comfortable
talk to you, I
that
hope
this
you
was
have a
evolving
wonderful
into maybe
weekend.
something.
Take care, man.
I had to keep
Have
reminding
a good
myself
night.
that I didn't live here, though, and telling myself that I can't fall too deep for this girl. I think it's worth
So we
noting
already
that
have a
at this
sketch
point of
for
the night,
this, so I
had
don't think I'm
zero
gonna
doubts
sketch
and zero
much.
red flags about
Just
this
gonna
person,
refine
Jen.
some stuff.
And close to midnight, she leaned over and kissed me on the cheek. As I smiled, she leaned in and whispered softly, "We should go back to your place." I could feel my heart racing, and I'm not gonna lie, this is what I wanted. I nodded and we caught an Uber back to my Airbnb.
Gotta have
Before
those
heading
acrylics.
inside, she paused. I asked if she was okay, and she said in an embarrassed voice, "I'll meet you inside.
The sleigh
I don't want
emote.
you
Yeah,
to see,
exactly.
but
We have to
smoke.
finish it.
I'm embarrassed by it. I'm trying to quit, but it's a process." I assured her that I didn't care, but she was
so
persistent that I didn't
good.
see her smoke.
Okay.
Not wanting to upset her, I went inside and started getting changed into some comfortable clothes. A few minutes went by, and I noticed that she still wasn't inside. I went and looked out the front window, and she was nowhere to be found.
Oh, I
stepped outside
accidentally
and shouted
put the
her name a
eraser
few
for some
times,
reason.
and
I don't
there
know
was no
why.
response. The house that I was renting had this small wraparound porch in the front of the house. On the porch was a bench, and I sat down on the
Good
bench
night, Mom.
and messaged Jen on the Tinder app.
Love you too. Have a
While I
good
was waiting
sleep.
for her to
Pardon?
respond, I was starting
No,
to
I'm
get
not
kinda
done
nervous.
streaming. I'm still streaming. I'm
After
just
all, I
saying good
didn't
night
know
to
this
you.
guy, and I started
Good
thinking it
night.
wasn't a safe neighborhood to be in. And the thoughts of something horrible happening to Jen started to flood my mind.
Are you done?
Then I heard some commotion coming
That's
from
funny.
the house. I turned around and
Like,
looked
yes,
through the
I'm just
window into
talking to
my rented
myself
house.
in this room for fun.
There she was, clear
I,
as day.
honestly,
Jen
I
and two other
my
random
family probably
dudes.
think that that's normal at
They
this
seemed to be
point.
sneaking around my house. I just instinctually ducked down. I could see Jen whispering something to them, but I couldn't hear what it was through the thick walls. I saw her pull out her phone and she started to text. Seconds later, I got a message on Tinder from her saying, "Hey, where'd you go? I'm inside and I can't find you." I didn't respond. Jen and one of the guys stood in the living room, looking constantly around and over their shoulders. The other guy was not in view, which made me really nervous. Now, I should have called the police right there and then, but in the moment, I couldn't think straight at all. I was still trying to put puzzle pieces together in my head, and after a minute or two, I saw the other guy, whom I couldn't see a moment ago, carrying some bag of some kind, and it looked pretty full. I finally realized what was happening. I was pretty sure that I was getting robbed, or at least
Oh.
the house that I was staying at was getting robbed. I saw the man with the bag head over to my laptop, which was on the desk in the living room, and my entire life was on that laptop. I watched him follow the wire from the back of the wall, and then
Somebody
he unplugged
stole
it.
my laptop, they'd
couldn't
probably
let him
just be
steal that.
like,
I
why are there
messaged
so
Jen
many
back and said that I
dating
called the police and would be
sims
here in less than
in
30
this
seconds.
person's Steam profile?
Obviously, that was a lie. I hadn't even called
I'm
them
just
yet.
joking.
but I
I'm
wanted to
partly
see her react.
joking.
She screamed at them, saying that they had to go or something.
Blush
And
blush
then the
stream
three of them
when,
ran
guys?
out the front door, running directly by me. Thankfully, they couldn't see that I was crouching over in the corner behind the bench. I just sprinted inside and saw my laptop was still there. My wallet was also right next to the laptop, which contained all my credit cards and about $500 in cash. And luckily for me, this thief was either an idiot or completely blind. I did call the police, and I told them everything that happened, and no surprise, that Jen person was completely fake. We contacted the owners, and I
Yeah.
tried to figure out what they stole, and it didn't look to be anything too valuable. Maybe some random pieces of art, I guess, or silverware, I don't even know, but
You may call
They were just
yourself
from
the
home
Poke
to
King after
TJ Maxx
raising
or
everyone
something.
up in a
there weren't
Pokemon
any
dating
valuable
game.
things,
I would
and
love a
I stayed at the
Pokemon
hotel for the
dating
rest of my
sim
stay. and I
with
completely
like
deleted my Tinder account.
like Guzma and
What
like
disturbs
Professor
me
Sycamore kind
is
of
that
stuff
this
like
woman's
that.
still
I
out
want
there,
that so bad.
tricking
Nintendo
people
will
into
never
letting
do
her
it,
into their homes and
but
robbing
that is
them.
the one thing that I want them
My
to
sincere
do.
hope is that I
Like
never see
I'm
Jen
begging
again,
them to,
and
but
that
I
never
don't
have
think
to
they
return to
ever
that city for
will.
work or any other reason.
That would skyrocket to my favorite Pokemon game if they ever did do something like that. I've wanted to make a fan game like that because I do know how to like code dating sims in like RenPy and stuff. So I wanted to do that before. Will I? I don't know. There's a lot of art to do.
The story I'm about to share takes place approximately 6 to
This
7
ear
years
is driving
ago.
me
I had
bonkers right
recently
now.
gotten out of a long-term relationship and moved back to my hometown with
Does
a
that
buddy
look
of
okay?
mine who was
No,
living
it
by
doesn't.
himself in a house that he recently bought. He had plenty of space and gave me a great deal on rent. I remember being very appreciative
God,
of the
what is
offer just
happening?
because so much in my life had changed. I had gotten out of a relationship, started a new job, and
I
would now
can't
be
draw
in the
this
process
ear.
of
I'm
moving.
usually pretty good at drawing ears.
Now,
I don't
living
know
with my
what's
friend
happening
Calvin,
right
we'll
now.
call him, was fun right off the bat. I think the first night after I officially moved in, we cracked open a bottle and just had some drinks while we were cooking dinner. I'm not normally a big drinker, but I remember being hungover the next day at the job that I had just
That looks okay.
started
I'll go
not
with
more
that.
than a week prior. But anyway, all of my single friends were on Tinder and trying to convince me to join. I wasn't much into social media.
Also, I've never
and
used
the thought
Tinder
of meeting
before.
someone
It
randomly on an
scares
app
me
did not seem
from
very
these types of
appealing.
stories.
Also, the stories that they would tell me about their interactions and encounters certainly didn't make it any more enticing for me to join.
Exactly.
I decided to hard pass on downloading Tinder and was actually looking forward to being single for the first time in a while. It wasn't out of the ordinary
That's
for Calvin
too
and I
big
to have
of an
people
earring
over at the
for
house
me.
on the weekends. We never really had parties, but usually would have about 5 or 6 people over if there was nothing else going on. I remember one night specifically we had more than just a few people over. Each person we invited brought a friend or two. A few people at the house asked if they could set up a table to play beer pong. We didn't care and let everyone have at it. One of my really good friends, Kelsey, came over that night to see the new place and just hang out. We hadn't seen each other in at least a year, and I was excited to see what was new with her. We sat on the couch and talked for at least 45 minutes, updating each other about our families and what was new in our lives. I grabbed us both a drink and sat back down, and she said, "I saw you took the plunge, eh?" I looked at her confused and said, "What?" She smiled and responded, "Tinder. I came across your profile. I didn't swipe right because I didn't want to be weird, but you could have picked pictures with better resolution." Very funny," I said. And she looked at me kind of confused
Cassio, bro,
as I
had a
told her
friend
that I
named
wasn't on Tinder.
Cassio. We
And
had
she says,
Cassidy and now Cassio
"Well, if you're
in this
really not on
stream.
Tinder, someone's
This
using
is
your naked
FNAF.
pictures on there. I didn't read the profile, but it was definitely you, and it was definitely your name." I looked at her, dumbfounded, and said, "Well, that's pretty creepy. Do you think you could find it again?" She wasn't sure, and she shouted for her friend and said, "Hey, Kristen, come here. Can you get on Tinder and can you just keep scrolling till you find him? Maybe try and limit it to like local or something so it's not as many counts show up." Kristen knew what was going on and gave the thumbs up and went back over to the pong table. We moved on with our conversation and switched to updating the playlist that was playing on the speakers at the party. In the middle of a big laugh about one of the songs that we chose, Kristen came over and said, "I think this is you, buddy." It was me. She had matched with my fake Tinder profile.
In school, we
I asked
had
her to
a
scroll
role
through the
play
photos, and there was one really
Orthello,
old photo
but
from when I
in
had
a
Facebook,
courtroom,
and a couple of
I
pictures from my
was
Instagram account that I had
Cassio.
not posted something new on at least a few years. The profile did have my name, but there wasn't
With
really
mean
anything
look?
in the bio.
Serene, you're gonna test
I
if
honestly
mean
don't
look
recall
works.
if it even said anything.
Whoa, what the
I
frick?
asked Kristen if she could message them and ask them for their number. She did, and the person responded right away. Instead of providing a number, they sent her to go to an Instagram account. I asked her to send it to me so Kelsey and I could see what the Instagram was. I figured it was going to be
It
one of those
worked, hell
Instagram
yeah,
accounts that
let's
said,
go.
"For only
So I get to
$4.99,
keep
we
my
would give you
crown as
10,000
the king of
followers," or something
Pokemon,
insane
because
like
I
that, but
remembered that move
when we
did
got
that.
to the Instagram account, which was not private, the profile picture was a picture of my face and had my full name.
Oh,
And
that's
this is when I
weird.
started to get a little angry and pretty concerned. I immediately went to message the account and said something along the lines of, "Stop using my name in photos." I told the account that I had come across this page as well as that a Tinder account, and I'll be reporting it to the police if it's not taken down. We waited 10 minutes or so, and there was no response. I put my phone away and said, "Let's go sign up for beer pong." And the rest of the night was relatively uneventful. A
Did I
couple of
miss
friends
something?
crashed
Why are
on
they
the couch,
signing up
and
for
we
beer
cleaned up a little
pong?
bit before deciding that we would save the rest for the morning. I remember putting on Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors as I cleaned up my room
Why?
and got ready for bed. Even though it was late in the night, I wasn't feeling tired, but as soon as I got into bed and turned on my fan, I passed out instantly, and that was until about 3 a.m. or so. My phone buzzed loudly. I usually keep my phone on silent or do not disturb, but I must have completely forgotten, and it was an Instagram notification. It was from the fake account, and it was just a smiley face.
It
Not
fled.
an
What do you
emoji,
mean it fled?
Literally the colon and
Why does it keep
parentheses.
fleeing?
Even though I was half asleep, I typed back demanding again that they
I
delete
thought
the
me and
account
Look
and stop
prevented
using
it
my
from
name in
fleeing.
photos. I must have fallen back
That's
asleep
so
because when I
stupid.
woke up in the morning, I had
I'm
another
sorry, man. I
response,
don't know
and
why it's
it
not
said,
working.
"Anything for
This
you."
mess print you have is just being a
Very
dick.
creeped out and annoyed, I noticed that the account didn't have my profile picture anymore. It was just a black circle, and my name had been removed from the profile. Finally, I thought it was the end of this annoying BS.
Yeah,
The
something
topic
bad's
had
gonna
honestly
happen
slipped
to
my
this
mind
guy,
for a
I
while,
think.
until the following weekend when I had the house to myself. I wasn't feeling great and wanted to stay in bed and relax. Calvin went out to a bar and restaurant downtown with a group of friends. I was in bed watching TV and I got another alert on my phone. It was another Instagram message. It was from the same account.
I think it
and
only
said,
lasts a few
"I know
turns.
where you
That's
are."
unfair. It should
Smiley
last the
face.
whole time.
I looked
At
at the
least it got
message,
you a
trying
few
to
other
think of what to
turns,
type
I
back.
guess.
And before I could respond, an image came into the chat. It was a picture, and it was the outside of Calvin's house.
Oh.
It looked like it from across
Oh,
the street,
no.
but it was hard to tell exactly where it was from because the only light was street lights. I got out of bed and made sure all the lights were off and that the doors and windows were locked, which thankfully were. I didn't respond to the message. I don't know why. Honestly, it was probably because I was terrified and I didn't want to
Yeah,
have a
what do you
confrontation.
even say to that?
If
Somebody
someone
sends
really
you a
was outside,
picture
I didn't
of the
want them any
outside of
closer
the
to
house that you're at.
I sat there in
Like,
silence
what?
with just my TV screen on and the volume on mute. I was really anxious and just hoping that I wouldn't hear anything else, and I didn't. Well, for a few hours, that is. I think it was 2 or 3 hours later when I felt another buzz from my phone. This time it said,
You're
"I
done
know
playing
you sleep."
Superstar Saga for the night?
Smiley face.
Bacon?
My heart sank. I had a baseball bat under
It
my
was
bed
fun.
and I grabbed it.
I have
My phone
to
lit up
invest
again,
in
and it was a
that or look
picture of
into it
a
because
window.
I, for some reason,
It
did
was
not know
impossible to
that that
make
was
out where it
in the
was, but I
Game
think they were
Boy
trying to insinuate that
pack,
they were outside
and
my window.
now I need it in my life.
I grabbed the bat, slung open the back door, and screamed that if you come anywhere near this house, our dog will tear you to shreds, and the cops are on their way.
Good for you,
I
dude.
slammed the door shut and locked it, terrified that I even went outside. Also, we didn't have a dog, but thought that that might deter someone if they actually were outside. About 15 minutes later, I heard rattling at the front door, and the door swung
Oh,
open.
what?
As I decided if I was
Oh
going to take a
no.
swing with the
Oh
bat,
no.
Calvin said, "What are you doing?"
Oh, it was
I
his
explained the
friend. I
entire
was
thing to him.
afraid.
And
I was
after debating
afraid
if we should call
too.
the cops, we decided to just block the account and see if anything else happened. Thankfully, nothing ever came of the incident. I didn't receive any other messages or have any other friends tell me that they found fake profiles of me. I know you're probably thinking that that was my last experience with Tinder. Well, you're wrong. About 6 months later, I did rejoin Tinder, and I have a bunch of different stories for a different day, but thankfully, this is my worst experience using the app.
Yeah, I would think so. Freaking somebody trying to break into your house. Or your friend's house, I guess. But still.
It seems that during the time that we live in, my generation is a generation of online dating. I remember being in high
not
school,
true.
and online dating was something that losers did. It was for people who couldn't get dates in the real world, I thought. When I was in college, not only was that previous statement incorrect, but it was the primary way my generation met people for dates and various other activities.
I don't know,
I
man.
was even
Tinder
a frequent
scares
user of
me.
dating apps by my mid-20s. My favorite one to use was Tinder, obviously.
Scary.
I just found that most of the time on the app, I found people that were into going out, grabbing a drink, and just hanging out. One of my more unique stories from meeting people on Tinder was the night that I met Felicia. And that chick was awesome.
Felicia.
We started messaging earlier in the day, and we agreed to hit up one of the bars near her house that night. We met up and started vibing right away. As the night progressed, I saw her expression and mood instantly change. Getting to the point where I couldn't ignore it anymore, I asked her if she was all right, and she said in a whisper I could barely hear, "You see that guy with the Yankees hat across the bar? That's my ex's best friend. He's been
Why did it
staring
make
over
that
you
one
for
a
the last
circle,
hour."
though?
My ex is, well, he isn't a good guy. I'm sure he's probably texted him, and I'm just nervous about him showing up. I didn't care about her ex. I've dealt with crazy exes before, and I assured her
That's
that
a
I was
wild
okay
thing to
and
say.
I
I
could take
didn't
of
care about her
myself.
ex.
She gave me kind of a half smile and asked if we could leave. Of course, I agreed, and we decided that we could go back to my place for the night. On her way out the door, her ex's friend confronted us. Not even acknowledging my existence, he looked right at Felicia and said, "Hey, can't say hi to me? And you're leaving already? Well, that's crazy. Why don't you just come back in and just buy me a drink, huh?"
Whoops.
She said no thank you pretty politely, and he started begging like a child. "Come on, just one drink." And before she could answer, I stepped in front and extended my hand and introduced myself. He laughed, looked right past me at Felicia and said, "Really?" and then walked away laughing. Ordinarily, that would make me mad, but I let it go since I could see how much this interaction bothered her. We finally went back to my place and nothing crazy happened. We actually played Mario Party on the Nintendo Switch and had a couple more drinks.
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
Fell asleep on the couch together.
Mario Party Riz.
When we
Let's
woke
go.
up, we both were happy and agreed to see each other again. I watched that happiness
This
disappear
dude
from
has
her
that
face,
Mario
and she
Party
looked at her
Riz.
phone. She had a message from a friend of hers that was at the bar that night, and apparently, not long after we left, her ex showed up at that bar. She started to apologize to me again and told me that she understood if I didn't want to see her again because of this craziness, and I reassured her that I'm not scared of any
Yeah, I
ex-boyfriend.
also struggle to make the
We went on a few
mimic
more
you
dates
eyes
and
look
never
nice
went back
for
to
your
that bar
goober. Yeah,
specifically.
honestly,
And the rest of
they're
our dates have
hard
been to
and they're
outdoor
just
places
scribbles,
like
but they're
parks
hard
and
to do.
beaches, and she started staying over at my house a few nights a week. I was kind of starting to fall for this girl, and I believe that she was starting to fall for me as well. I remember asking her if she wanted to stay at her place one night, and
I think
she
that's
just said
fine.
something along
I think
the
it
lines
looks
of
okay.
she had too many roommates or something, and we wouldn't have any privacy. It worked for me because I'd rather stay home anyway. One Saturday night, a few weeks removed from the bar incident, Felicia stayed over at my house. It was a great night as always, and we got into bed to pass out at around midnight. I'm not sure how much longer it had been, but I woke up to Felicia screaming on the phone. Her ex called her, and apparently was freaking out on the other side. I couldn't hear what he was saying, but I could hear his tone on the phone, and he was definitely hollering. She hung up the phone in a rage and threw it across the room. I had to hold her and try and calm her down, and eventually she did start to calm down, and we just laid down in bed together. As we were laying there together, we heard the sound of 2 car doors shut right outside the house.
Oh,
She started
Oh,
repeatedly
no.
yell the word no as she gripped the blanket.
whoopsie.
I ran to the top of the stairs, which has a window that overlooks the driveway. I could see a large man in a Yankees hat and another large man with a short, almost buzzed haircut. When they got closer, I could clearly tell the one guy was the guy from the bar. I asked her if her ex had a buzz cut, and she said yes, and that we needed to go right now. I wasn't about to back down. These 2 guys didn't even try knocking. They both started just kicking the door in an attempt to break it down. Felicia ran to the door and begged them to stop, but they didn't. Then she did something that I'll never understand. She unlocked the door, allowing these 2 absolute
Excuse
maniacs
me?
to barge into my home. Once I saw them run inside, I just hid in the closet. I'm a strong guy,
Why
but I'm
did
not
she
about to win a
just
fight
do
against two
that?
dudes way
Like,
bigger than me. Her ex started freaking out instantly, demanding that I show myself. I could
why
hear her
would she
saying,
open the
"Please,
door?
just let's go home. I'm so
Who
sorry.
says
I'll never do this
hollering
again."
these days? Apparently the
couldn't see, but
person
from what I
telling
could
the
hear,
story.
It sounded like he was ignoring her because he kept just shouting for me. I could hear things banging and smashing downstairs, and Felicia just kept yelling for him to stop. After a couple of minutes, they left, and I heard him shout one last time that this isn't over yet, bro. I heard the car drive off, and when I left the closet and went downstairs, I saw that they had destroyed
I'm
my living
contemplating
room.
using the master
I
ball
sat on
on
the
it.
couch and
It's
contemplated
that, like,
calling the police,
Mesprint is
but
that
I
annoying
started to
for
think
you
about
right
what
now?
she said. She said, "Let's go home."
To be fair,
and
I
I'll
don't
never
even
do
think
this
I
again.
caught the Mesprint in
And then the
BDSP
wheels started
yet,
turning in
but
my head.
I don't
Was
think
this
I
girl
will
in
be
an active
after hearing
relationship?
this.
Was I
This
the
tale.
other man? I didn't have any social media at the time because I found it extremely distracting, and I had one of my friends look Felicia up, and I couldn't believe my eyes. Not only was she in a relationship, but she was also married to this dude. I felt terrible. I found his name on Facebook, and I sent him a private message from my friend's account and told him that it was me messaging him from this account, and I apologized and told him that I had no idea, and if I had known that she was married, I would have never continued talking to her.
Married.
Believe it or not, he actually went on to accept my apology, and he also apologized for being an absolute loon. He agreed to pay for any damage to my house, and I agreed to never talk to Felicia again.
It's
I
always
never
the
did.
marriage
I
betrayal.
blocked her number,
That's
and
crazy.
I don't even know if she tried to reach out to me again. I definitely think this dude overreacted, but I'll be honest, I get it. Sometimes heartbreak makes you do some wild things, and someone told me that he saw them out together recently, so maybe they did fix their marriage. It's just crazy to me that so many signs were in front of my face, and I was blind to them. He worked overnights, which is why I was able to spend so many nights with her. She did an excellent job of convincing me that this guy was her ex. But my advice to anyone out there using Tinder, or really any dating service, just be careful. People do have agendas, and they do have baggage. You may be just having a good time, you know? But the person you're with may be doing something much shadier than you expect.
Alright, we are going to... That's our last scary story for today. Because I actually almost lost track of time a little bit. But we did finish the line art on this. And we finished the sketch on the Bowser and Mario picture. And we... Oh, I just realized I didn't do the line art on the hat. Let me do that first. Before we go. I'll put on just some background music. We'll go back to the lo-fi playlist. Where is the lo-fi? The lo-fi? The lo-fi playlist. What do we want to listen to? We'll listen to Wii Sports title screen lo-fi. Why frickin' not? But yeah, I forgot to do this part of the hat, so I'm just gonna do that real quick. It's a good song. This is the music I listen to when I'm like writing. I guess it would be here. Yeah. Okay, cool. Cool. I'm just gonna put my iPad down for a second. Readjust in my chair. Just put this volume down just a little bit. Okay, let me read chat before we depart for today. I'll leave this whole picture here for you guys to look at. Why am I like off center all of a sudden? I don't know. Okay, that should be better now. I don't know what was going on. Serene, you're just using the master ball. You know what? That's fair. However you're gonna catch Mesprint, just do it. It seemed to have been causing you so much issues. And so question, why do you always flip your character with the hair, eyes, and eyebrows? What do you... I'm not sure what you mean by the flipping the character. Like when I like turn it upside down and stuff? Or with the eyes, I did mirror them so that they're the same. And then I just kind of like squeezed some of them. But I don't know if that's what you meant or not. This is what I would listen to while drawing if I were someone that draws. This lo-fi, yeah. My lo-fi playlist is literally just a bunch of like, I don't know, like Wii music, Nintendo music, stuff like that. Like the placement and color switches side of the face sometimes. Like, you mean like the... Oh, you mean like I put... Yeah. So you mean like the slit eyebrow is supposed to be on the one side, but sometimes I draw it on the other side? That's because I am very bad at consistency. Technically, in this drawing, the eyebrow that I slit is not supposed to be slit, actually. It's supposed to be the other one. I'll fix it. But, Bacon, I don't do that on purpose. It's because I usually don't know what I'm doing. But it is supposed to actually be this eyebrow that is slit. So it's supposed to be that. And then this is going to be the brown part of the hair over here. And then this is going to be the pink part of the hair. And then this is going to be the brown. No, this is going to be the pink eye. And this is going to be the brown one. Honest to God, it's honestly just because I forget sometimes. And that's on me and consistency. Your inconsistency will be the downfall of myself with my OCD on art. I know, I'm sorry. There are so many pieces where I will accidentally like swap the colors, and especially with the hair, because if you... Here, I'm gonna switch over to actually our little end screen. Where is that anyways? Oh, it's here. Yeah, we'll be here for now. I'm guessing right now. Because I only have the one screen. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So, as you can see, the little hair that's like in the middle, the brown part, it kind of goes off to the side. But if I turn this way, in art, this little brown part, like the little, I don't know what to call it, the split part in the hair. If I turn completely this way, then the hair, it would be pink, but sometimes I mess it up, and that's just on me and consistency. Should I have made a VTube model with more consistent colors? Maybe. But that's just not like me. Oh, the music stopped. That's funny. Hold on, let me go get the music. When I switched scenes, the music stopped. Where's the music? Here it is. We're ending soon, but it's gonna bug me. Okay, the music should be back now. It should be back now. But yeah, no, that's just me and my inconsistencies with my character. I try. Like, I really do try sometimes, and if I see that I, like, messed it up, I'll try and fix it. Do I always catch it? No. There's a actual picture I have right beside me that I put in my, like, YouTube videos. And it has the incorrect colors. It's swapped. You want to hear something bad, actually? One of my, not my first PNG tuber, but my second PNG tuber model, I actually did the brown eye matching the brown hair and the pink one matching the pink hair. Like, it wasn't swapped like it's supposed to. And that is a key part of my model. And I didn't, like, I legitimately, this was the official PNG tuber. It's in one of my thumbnails, actually, which is embarrassing. It's legitimately in one of my thumbnails. I can't remember what video it is. I'm gonna, like, look it up now. I want to say it was one of my first ever live streams. One of my first ever live streams has a thumbnail where the eyes are completely incorrect. It actually is my first ever live stream, which is Let's Play Pokemon Violet Live Part 1. The eyes are completely incorrect on my model because I didn't realize that I completely messed it up, and I did the pink eye with the pink hair and the brown eye with the brown hair. And it was unfortunate. So there's that. I haven't done that in a hot minute. But this is how my official design is supposed to be, and sometimes I just fuck it up. Not hating, but I'm glad I made my OC with only one asymmetrical feature on the jacket. Yeah, no, my model has a lot of asymmetrical features. And the stuff with, like, the hair and even the gems on the crown, I think I do them the wrong color sometimes because it's supposed to be, purple's always in the middle, but sometimes I put the blue on the left and it's supposed to be on the right. That's another thing that I can't. And the sticker placement, like this picture that's beside me that goes in the background of my YouTube videos, the sticker placement is completely wrong. Like, it's completely wrong. It's on the complete wrong side of the face, but it's whatever. I'll redo it one of these days. Anyways, that's going to be all from me today, folks. Thank you for coming and hanging out. I always love doing art streams. I know I say that every freaking art stream, but it's true. And now that I have my iPad, I feel like I'm a lot more... It's freaking Wii Sports. It kills me. I love this music, but now that I have my iPad, I feel like I'm more productive when it comes to art in general and art streams, so I definitely want to do more of them. This is the first of many more art streams, especially because we're ending Okami next week, which I'm excited for, but we're ending Okami next week, so it opens up more streaming stuff that we can do, so this will be a more regular thing. Maybe we'll actually finish all the emotes that I want to do. We'll see. But yeah, that's gonna be all from me today, folks. Hope that you have a wonderful rest of your night. If you are going to bed after stream, I hope that you sleep very, very well. I'm not streaming until next week, so I will post my schedule on Twitter and then also on the community tab, either Sunday or early Monday. We'll probably have a good amount of streams next week because I am off of work, so we're not going to do super late streams. We'll probably do like 7 or 8 p.m. streams, which will be nice. We'll end Okami next week, which will also be very interesting, I'm sure. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Take care, everyone. Have a good night. I'll see you next week. Have a lovely weekend. Bye, 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 bye. See ya, see ya, see ya. Bye, 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 bye. See ya, see ya, see ya.